Kirk, I've got to ask you about Hadji Wright, hat-trick hero on Monday night. Some really instinctive finishes as well. It feels like that confidence is coursing through him, and you know what it's like, a striker yourself. Heading into this game, he will be absolutely purring.
Yeah, he should be buzzing, and I think almost when you're struggling a little bit, those instinctive finishes that are the ones that you want, where you've not got loads of time to think about it, where you almost go back to basics. It's your reactions, it's that muscle memory, all the hard work that you do on the training ground. So yeah, going into this game, he will be absolutely full of confidence and thinking as soon as a chance presents itself that he's going to put it in the back of the net.
Just a point on Frank Lampard, who we did just hear from, and a broader point. Earlier on the Weekend Sports Breakfast, the former Coventry winger Dave Bennett was speaking generally about Lampard's management career and says he's rebuilt his reputation at Coventry. How much do you go along with that?
Yeah, I think so. Look, I'd never step into management. It's such a hard job, but I think, as you say, going back and looking sort of what he did previously, and then maybe didn't do himself any favours, especially I think that second stint at Chelsea, I think probably did damage his reputation to a degree. But the fact that he's done such a great job with Coventry, and especially not just for what he's done, but I think from the background of Coventry itself, because Mark Robins was such a popular figure. So to rebrand himself, to do what he's done with this club, I think is huge for him. And you know, especially if you get promoted to the Premier League, then that's always a massive tick on the CV. But yeah, totally agree with that in terms of, I think he is looked at now as a manager a lot differently and a lot more successful.
In terms of the game itself then, as the teams make their way out at the Hawthorns, for West Brom, is it all about just trying to stay in that game and try and keep Coventry as quiet as possible early on?
Yeah, it has to be, and I giggle because that's very much easier said than done, because you look at the 11 that's on the pitch, you look at as well the strength and depth on the bench, but they need to take some confidence, West Brom, from those shutouts that they've had, those clean sheets, to try and stay in the game as long as possible, and then hope that going forward, whether it be a moment of brilliance or something clicks or a set piece, that they can find the back of the net, because that's been the big trouble. But I say they have to keep a clean sheet, because we've mentioned it, they've not really been scoring goals. So as soon as they concede, it's not game over, but obviously as soon as they concede, the mountain gets that much bigger, and it's already a big one to climb.
Courtney, thanks very much indeed. Remember, there's plenty of live football coming your way this weekend on the Talksport network. Following our lunchtime game, we'll be at the racecourse as promotion-chasing Ipswich travel to Wrexham. Then from 8 o'clock tonight, mark your card, Newcastle travel to Manchester City in the Premier League. It's live on Talksport. Could be a huge game, that one, in the title race. And don't miss Game Day Live tomorrow with Sam Matterface, bringing you all of the Premier League action from 1:30, including updates from a crucial North London derby. First, though, we're over to the Hawthorns. No win yet for manager Eric Ramsey. Points becoming precious for West Brom. The Baggies in a real scrap for survival. It's a contrasting task, though, for Coventry. Rediscover their form on the road and stay in control of the race for promotion. Plenty on the line then. Let's join your commentary team. The former Liverpool women's striker, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. But first, your match commentator, Joe Shannon.
Thanks, Ollie. Well, Coventry are now back in pole position, and if the resurgent league leaders can sort out their away form, then surely the Premier League awaits, and a return to the top flight for the first time in 25 long years. For West Brom, the prospect of relegation is very real. Eric Ramsey is feeling the pressure just 7 games into the job. This is must win for them, and if they do win, Sheffield Wednesday will be relegated today. What a way then to start another Saturday of championship action for you. Back-to-back live commentaries here on your home of the EFL. That is Talksport 2. It'll be Coventry to get the game underway in their luminous orange away strip, playing from right to left in the first half. And West Bromwich Albion in their traditional colours of dark blue and white striped shirts, white shorts and blue socks, playing from left to right towards the Smethwick end that is split between home and away supporters. The game begins. Coventry go long straight away, flicked down the inside right by Hadji Wright, and Sakamoto can't keep it in play. It's a goal kick to West Brom, who have Max O'Leary in goal, Gilchrist, Bielik, Taylor and Styles, Mowat and Malumbi, Wallace, Price and Jimo Aloba behind Hegerber up front. And for Coventry, the goalkeeper is Rushworth, Van Eyck, Thomas, Latterbodier and De Silva. Onyeka and Grimes, Sakamoto, Rodoni and Mason Clark behind right up front. A big chance, Courtney, for Coventry to extend their lead at the top.
Yeah, it's huge, and I think you look at the table and think it's probably a foregone conclusion, but we mentioned that, you know, the away streak that Coventry are on, and I think it's really important here for them to start on the front foot, which they've done already, and really try and put some space between them and Borough, if only temporarily.
No win in 7 away league games for Coventry City. We are sitting right at the back of the Halfords Lane stand along one side of the ground, and a lofty perch above the two dugouts. Eric Ramsey to the left of the halfway line, and Frank Lampard standing inside his technical area to the right. Jed Wallace skipping into the area straight away, nearly through on goal here. Wallace trying to spin and turn from a very tight angle, and he's blocked off by Latabodiere. Now the loose ball reaches Malumbi, who crosses, headed away by Bobby Thomas for Coventry City. Well, that was a nervy moment for the league leaders and their back line. Fortunate that Wallace threw on goal, couldn't quite sort his feet out, still 0-0.
Yeah, the ball was a little bit bobbly, it wouldn't settle, and I don't think, you mentioned Jed Wallace was quite balanced either, couldn't sort his feet out quick enough to get the shot off, because if he did, I think Rushworth would have been in all sorts of trouble. He was only 5 yards out.
Wallace away down the right with a low ball in, and steered away from goal by Thomas once more, hoisted further clear by Grimes, but it's West Brom on the front foot in these early stages. Coventry counter down the left with Rodoni. West Bromwich Albion 0, Coventry City 0. 2.5 minutes into the game on Talksport 2, and we'll keep you up to date with all the goals as they go in around the grounds in the lunchtime kickoffs in the EFL. And then, of course, at 3 o'clock we'll be off to the racecourse ground for Wrexham against Ipswich, Manchester City against Newcastle in the Premier League, live at 8 o'clock over on Talksport. Coventry fans in full voice away to the right-hand side. Rushworth hammers the ball downfield, and it's headed away by Callum Stiles off the back of Sakamoto, and out of play for a West Brom throw on the far side in the left back position. Well, lots of energy coming from the stands, and of course West Brom hoping that translates finally into a first victory in any competition under Eric Ramsey.
Yeah, and look, it's been a good start from West Brom, and had a couple of good opportunities, Jed Wallace being at the heart of it. But, you know, the thing for them is finding that composure. It's finding the back of the net and just being careful as well, because you see there, you know, when Rodoni was going forward on the transition, because they're getting a little bit excited and getting bodies forward, which you need to do to score goals, and you need to have that risk. There's also the element of leaving himself open, and we know, especially on that forward line for Coventry, one great on the counter-attack, lots of pace, so they've got to be really careful with that balance, because we know that the full-backs love to get forward as well.
Here is Latabodiere, left-sided centre-half, quite small for a centre-half actually. Latabodiere making just his 8th appearance of the season today, out of the diminutive left-back De Silva wearing number 3. Coventry in this luminous orange away strip today, playing from right to left in the first half. Rotherham already lead Doncaster by a 0-0 in League One. That an important goal in Rotherham United's continual fight against relegation. Rotherham 1, Doncaster Rovers 0. And Coventry with the opportunity not just to go 4 points clear of Middlesbrough today, but 9 clear of Millwall, at least temporarily. Borough and Millwall both in action at 3 o'clock. Indeed, both have got home games that you'd expect them to win. O'Leary for West Bromwich Albion plays a simple forward ball, and now Jamaldine Jimo Aloba on loan from Aston Villa, beaten to it in the middle of midfield by Onyeka's lunging challenge. Dinked over the top towards Mason Clark, who brings it down, chips O'Leary, and the ball is in the back of the net. What a start! The league leaders are in front again. Efren Mason Clark dinked it over the top of Max O'Leary. He got a glove to it, but he couldn't keep it out. Neither could the defender on the line. And all of West Brom's hard work in the early stages is undone. Behind yet again under Eric Ramsey. And Coventry, the leaders, have the early advantage. West Brom 0, Coventry 1.
Wow, that ball, it's far too easy. West Brom defenders now, you see the body language, and this is what I said, if Coventry get that early goal, it is such a good sign for them, because you see they're looking at each other, hands on hips, they're either looking at each other arguing or heads down to the ground, and they're thinking, here we go again. there was such a lack of communication, and I thought actually when O'Leary gets that little bit of a touch to it, it slows the ball down, and it's Gilchrist that comes round and is trying to hook the ball off the line, and I thought it just gives Gilchrist half a chance, which it does, but I just don't think he sorts his feet out quick enough. And credit to Mason Clark, it's a really good finish, lobs the goalkeeper, and this is exactly what Coventry would have wanted at the start of the day.
Efren Mason Clark on the score sheet for the first time since Boxing Day. Raucous noise from the 2,500 Coventry fans away to our right-hand side. The only saving grace for West Brom is that the team directly below them, Leicester City, are behind again away at Stoke in the Championship. Stoke 1, Leicester 0. So West Brom, as it stands, of course, would stay 2 points clear of the relegation zone, at least for now. But there will be a little bit of respite too for Sheffield Wednesday, who could be relegated today if West Bromwich Albion win. Wednesday away at United in the Steel City derby tomorrow. Wednesday would still have to win that game to avoid being relegated this early on in the season. It's all happening up and down in the Championship, and Coventry lead by a goal to nil. Really well taken by Mason Clark, and we've had it confirmed. We don't have monitors in the Coventry position today, but he was definitely onside.
The thing that I can't get my head round is Gilchrist. I really do think O'Leary does enough to slow the ball down, and there's an opportunity to clear the ball for Gilchrist, and he just lets it bounce, and then he's almost trying to do such an acrobatic clearance on the line when he could have got rid of it a little bit quicker. I know it's easy to say in hindsight, but just seems really odd.
Mowat on the halfway line for West Brom, out to the left side, and number 4, Callum Styles, the Hungary international, who can play in a number of positions. He's waiting for the run of Jimo Aloba, who was a little bit slow on the uptake. West Brom have to slow the game down, much to the frustration of the supporters in the East Stand on that far side. Cleared away by Coventry upfield, then Mason Clark floats a high ball skywards. That's overhit. Hadji Wright watches it drop over his shoulder, bounce out of play for a West Brom throw. Almost out of nothing, really, Courtney, that Coventry goal. Yeah,
it was, and actually that opportunity there is quite similar in terms of the way that Taylor goes in and he gets caught, then Bielik's sort of clearing the line for Hadji Wright, and if that ball's better from Mason Clark in behind, that they're in again, and that was one of the problems there. You look at the centre-halves between them in terms of the lack of pace there, and they got caught. As you say, Mason Clark's definitely onside, and that's because they're not kept that defensive line straight, and I think it's going to be a long old day for those centre-halves.
Less than 10 minutes into the game, and Coventry already lead by a goal to nil. Their lead at the top ahead of Middlesbrough stretches to 4 points and 9 clear of Millwall in third position. We've got Wrexham against Ipswich at 3 o'clock on Talksport 2. The Steel City derby tomorrow. Manchester City against Newcastle tonight over on Talksport. Stoke 1, Leicester 0. The other goal that's gone in the early kickoffs in the Championship, given away by Coventry. Now Jed Wallace almost reaches him inside the penalty area, hacked away by De Silva. Header forward by Bielik from the halfway line for West Brom. It drops into the middle of the Coventry half, and the elegant Price scampers forward in his long sleeve shirt, plays it square to Mowat, back to the halfway line, and here come West Brom again with Gilchrist, the fullback, out to the right, and Wallace standing right in front of Frank Lampard. Gilchrist back to Christian Bielik. Ironically for Eric Ramsey's West Brom, they'd look quite bright in these early stages, other than conceding the goal.
Yeah, just switch off for a second, and that's the problem though against a team like Coventry. They're so good in that forward line, but they've showed their moments, West Brom, getting in behind, especially Jed Wallace. And you mentioned Latabaudiere a little bit earlier, is obviously not the biggest, but I think that's probably why he was brought in. One, against with Thomas, is a bit more mobile than Kitchen, and also you look at Hegerber, for example, he's not the tallest, so you think that would help them, but actually down that side with him and De Silva, Jed Wallace is managed to find the half space and come off the back shoulder, and has got a little bit of joy, and just showing that frailty at the back again at times, Coventry.
Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, former Sheffield United striker, with us on Talksport 2 this lunchtime. Your home of the EFL. De Silva charging forward over the halfway line here for Coventry. Checks back infield into a more central position. Mason Clark out to the left. Here he is, the goal scorer. 10 yards to the edge of the penalty area. Right-footed shot, screaming over the bar. Well, you could see the intent as it opened up for him. Just a little gap in between the West Brom midfield and the back line, and he thought, why not in the end that swerves over the top of O'Leary's crossbar.
Yeah, because he's got the ability and you're 1-0 up, so if that's 0-0, it's maybe a different conversation or a different reaction from the manager from the sideline for sure. But what I will say, Sakamoto a couple of times in that play when De Silva and Mason Clark had the ball was in a really good position, so he'll be looking to get on the ball next time.
That Mason Clark goal, Courtney, Coventry's 67th league goal of the season. They're the top scorers in the whole of the EFL. They're always good for a goal. Onyeka brings the ball down, just shy of the halfway line. The West Brom fans wanted handball. His arm was slightly outstretched. The referee, James Linnington, says play on. Onyeka, a tall, sturdy presence in the middle of midfield. I watched his debut against Middlesbrough on Monday. Already looks like a really good, potentially game-changing signing for Coventry.
Yeah, and we spoke about it a little bit before the game, but I think at times when Coventry were losing games, that bite, that presence in the midfield that you mentioned was lacking. So to bring him in for one, but to actually hit the ground running, because that's not always easy. It looks like an inspired signing so far.
The ball is on the halfway line. Tug of the shirt, Mason Clark on Wallace, the West Brom captain. That's an obvious free kick to West Bromwich Albion on the halfway line. Gilchrist from the right back position, right in front of Eric Ramsey, the former Minnesota United head coach. Given away by West Brom, forward by the Coventry captain Grimes, into the feet of Rodoni, just outside the centre circle. He can always pick a pass, Matt Grimes, even when there's a very small amount of space. Seems to thread it through the eye of the needle. And Coventry have it again. Good footballing team, Coventry, with De Silva on the halfway line. The top of the championship looking like this. Coventry 65 points, Middlesbrough 61, Millwall 56, Hull 55 and Ipswich 54. Ipswich, it's worth saying, have got 2 games in hand, 3 on Coventry, if you include the game that's taking place right now, of course. So Ipswich will still feel they are right in the heart of the promotion battle. Away at Wrexham on Talksport 2 at 3 o'clock. The big games just keep on coming up and down the championship all the way between now and the end of the season. Rushworth has hacked the ball out of play. West Brom have a throw far side of the field in front of that single tiered east stand here at the tight confines of the Hawthorns with the floodlights on, and Jimo Aloba, the Aston Villa loanee, in a tight space, and his touch back towards Styles was heavy. Straight out of play. Coventry have a throw in the right back position. They're not in total control necessarily, Coventry, but as I say, Courtney, they're always good for a goal, and they are always such a potent threat on the attack at any time.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Coventry. I think they'll always feel, and watching them, I feel that they've got the ability to go and outscore teams. Yes, there are some frailties at the back, but they've got so much quality in the forward line that you always feel that they're in the game.
Jack Rodoni trying to scamper down the near side to left. It's out of play. West Brom want the throw taken with a little more urgency by Gilchrist. Down below us here in the Halfords Lane stand, lots of Baggies fans with the blue and white scarves and hats on, although it's a relatively mild afternoon, certainly compared to what we've had recently in terms of the weather. Latterbaudière back to the tall Thomas for Coventry, and now Rushworth finding Van Ewijk, who surely has to be one of the best right backs in the division. It's his high ball down the inside right, headed away by Charlie Taylor, covering at centre half again, and that was a risky challenge by Mowat on Sakamoto, who has gone down and is lying on the turf on his back. Well, it'd be interesting if we had the ability to see that again. That challenge from Mowat looked as though for a moment he was leaning with the arm there, Courtney. It was certainly a risky challenge.
Yeah, it was late. I think there'll at least be a caution. It's hard to see from here, isn't it? It's the complete opposite end of the pitch, but there's no doubt it was late. It's whether he leads with the arm as well. I don't think the referee thinks so, because I think he would have acted a bit more quickly, but I'm surprised there's not at least a caution for that, to be honest.
Barrow in relegation trouble in League 2, but they lead at Fleetwood by 1-0 in the early stages here in one of the 12:30 kickoffs this lunchtime. Quarter of an hour played, West Bromwich Albion 0, the leaders Coventry City 1. West Brom are still only 2 points clear of the relegation zone, but luckily for them, Leicester are still behind away at Stoke. Coventry free kick from the right side. It's only 2 or 3 yards in field. It's going to be floated forward here by Matt Grimes, the captain, high on the diagonal, looping up towards Latibodiere, headed back towards his own goal by Taylor, then headed away by Price. It'll drop down to Onyeka. First time touch out to Sakamoto, back out wide to Onyeka again. Now Grimes, middle of the West Brom half, steers the ball to the right, and Sakamoto, who thankfully is completely okay, back on his feet, goes down, dispossessed by the combination of Styles and Price, and West Brom break. Price to Hegerber, knocks it back to Jimo Aloba, bursting up the middle, brought down by Van Ewijk, and that's going to be the first yellow card of the game. Foul by Van Ewijk, just outside the centre circle.
Yeah, it's a cynical one, Joe. He knows exactly what he's doing. Great quick play forward from West Bromwich Albion in terms of getting the ball forward and players to support. And I think Van Ewijk feels that will be filed under taking one for the team. He had to make that challenge.
Yes, it was one of those cynical fouls where you knew the referee was going to produce the yellow card, and that he did. Under the cloudy skies here at West Bromwich Albion, and Sakamoto is going to get a booking as well, presumably for an earlier foul over on the Coventry right.
Yeah, it's when he lost the ball. He comes back in and he makes a late challenge, and referee lets the play go on, and he's obviously clocked it.
Oh, Frank Lampard's just getting an explanation from the fourth official down below us at the moment in his dark coat. Wycombe Wanderers 1, Stevenage 0 in League One is the latest score. Header away by Wright for Coventry City, high inside the penalty area. West Brom a goal down. Wallace rolls the ball back to Mowat just inside Coventry territory. Lively in the stands, good atmosphere despite West Brom being a goal down. Jimo Aloba racing forward trying to take on Van Ewijk. Remember, they haven't scored in their last 3 league matches, West Bromwich Albion. Out on the left hand side is Jimo Aloba again, and he and Styles not on the same wavelength in this game early on here, I think, to say the least, and the West Brom fans are not very amused in that far corner of the ground, Courtney.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm not sure what they were thinking in terms of Styles. He should already be on this front foot anyway to try and get on that ball. It's not great from Aloba, but I just don't know why Styles was on his heels the way he was in that position, because it's a great opportunity to take the first touch and whip the ball in.
17.5 minutes gone, and the Coventry fans are chanting, "That's why you're going down," at the West Brom supporters. Well, they're not in the relegation zone at the moment, but who knows by the end of the afternoon. It's West Brom 0, Coventry 1 on EFL Live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability. Price may vary. Coventry have the ball with De Silva, forward pass to Radoni, 10 yards into the West Bromwich Albion half. Mason Clark nudges it back to De Silva. Good football again by Coventry. Frank Lampard applauds as Radoni goes back to Latibodiere. Neat one-touch play in a very congested and tight area in the middle of midfield on a playing surface that we were saying before the game, Courtney, isn't perfect by any means.
No, it looks a little bit sparse. Obviously, the weather here in England has been absolutely terrible, hasn't it? It's been constant rain, so I think that the groundsmen all around the country have had a tough job to keep the pitches in good condition.
It might cause a problem for footballing teams, and Eric Ramsey has certainly tried to bring footballing principles to West Brom, but they've changed formation in the last couple of games, back to a back four, which is something that the players were certainly more familiar with. No win in their last 8 league games, and no win in 7 in all competitions under Eric Ramsey since he was appointed the former Manchester United coach. Onyeka striding forward over the halfway line, picks out Sakamoto, mud on the back of his orange shirt. Now Onyeka again, 10 yards into the West Brom half, away on the far side of the field, and Coventry keep easy possession. Thomas square to Latibodiere, back to Rushworth, who's had nothing to do in the game so far. Grimes dropping deep in between the 2 centre-halves, as he often does. And Coventry forced to go back to the goalkeeper under a bit of pressure from the on-rushing West Brom man, who was Malumbi. West Brom then win it back on the halfway line. Good press from West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, it was, and they did that a little bit earlier, but didn't get the press right in terms of when Malumbi went. Price sat in, and they played out far too easy from Onyeka, I think it was, and it ended up coming out with Grimes. But that time, everyone goes together. Malumbi then continues to press rush with the goalkeeper, and they get their rewards for it, West Brom. But that's what happens when you go in the front high press. You have to go all together, because if one breaks the link, it's far too easy to get out.
West Brom and Coventry fans watch on as the substitutes warm up down below us here. West Brom have it with goalkeeper O'Leary in the short sleeves, the blue shirt, gets it back from Christian Bielik. I don't think very much that O'Leary could have done about the opening goal. Chipped by Mason Clark. He got a big hand to it, but neither he nor Gilchrist could stop it. Coventry win it back in the left wing position. Gilchrist struggling early on in this game as Coventry go backwards to Latabodiere. You fancy Mason Clark against Gilchrist every single time, Courtney Sweetman-Kerr.
Yeah, and the problem is as well, because both the full-backs play high, but it's De Silva in this case that sometimes he doesn't know whether to stick or twist Gilchrist, especially then because you've got Hadji Wright, so they're quite clever at overloading those wide areas, Coventry.
De Silva on this near side, hugging the touchline, back to Latabodiere again. Patient build-up this for Coventry. Grimes shuffles away from Price, tries to hammer it down the left-hand side, blocked off by Price. That'll be a throw to Coventry right in front of Frank Lampard. Lots of sky blue shirts away to the right in the Smethwick end. 2,500 Coventry fans have made the short trip to this part of the Midlands as Rushworth scoops the ball high and long. Got to be careful under pressure from Hegerberg, and in the end he cleared it just quickly enough. Redoni just shy of the halfway line for Coventry. Back it goes to Latabodiere again. Eric Ramsey pacing up and down inside his technical area. It is eat, sleep, football, repeat for Eric Ramsey at the moment. There is no doubting his full focus and commitment to trying to turn things around, but the Championship is an unforgiving division, as we know, Courtney. Yeah,
it is, and the position that he came into was always going to be difficult. It's not like he came into a side that are top of the league, so loads of work to do. There are a lot of injuries as well, so he's had to deal with that, so it's by no means been an easy situation to deal with. But equally, I think, as I say, he knew what he was letting himself in for, the position that the club were in, and he obviously felt at the time that he had the ability to change it.
This is Talksport 2. Coventry lead by a goal to nil. Will have their next game away at Sheffield United on Wednesday night. Quite a scrappy portion of the game this at the moment. It's mostly being played in the middle third. West Brom win it back. Good feet by Hegerberg, who's certainly on a goal drought by the standards he set earlier on in the season. Auna Hegerberg. He has not scored in 12 matches since finding the net here against Sheffield United. On the halfway line is Mowat. Mowat sweeping the ball out to the right. Jed Wallace trying to bring it under control. It bounced up high off the turf. Wallace drills in a low cross, and it's cleared away by Latabodiere, first time left-footed.
Just think they've got to anticipate that better, West Brom, because Jed Wallace, as soon as he gets that ball in half a yard, he wants to swing it in, and when he's only got Hegerberg to aim at, that needs to change. I think it's, for likes of Price, need to do a lot better to try and get in the box and add bodies.
And there's a West Brom long throw coming up from the near side of the field. Gilchrist is going to take a run up here. They've sent Bielik forward, and I think Charlie Taylor is up there as well. Long throw by Gilchrist into the centre of the penalty area, only half away by Latabodiere. Flicked further clear by Thomas, nodded back in by Malumbi, sliced up into the cloudy skies by Onyeka, and then nodded on by Mason Clark. Redoni out on the right. Coventry have dealt with the long throw, and indeed they win a throw of their own on the far side, the right. It was quite a good delivery by Gilchrist, actually, very flat.
That's what you want, and obviously Van Eyck we've seen on the opposing side the carnage that he's caused with his long throws this season. They've not had the opportunity actually to get it in as yet, Coventry, because they've been quite clever, West Brom, when they've been clearing the ball. They know the threat he possesses, but they've not stopped that one.
Good throw down the right by Van Eyck to Hadji Wright. Corner of the penalty area, wins a corner for Coventry. Excellently done by Van Eyck. I was at Wolves on Wednesday in the snow, Courtney, and Yerson Mosquera kept trying as he might to take a long throw, but it kept slipping out of his hands and barely reaching the area.
Yeah, and I think we've seen it a lot this season where teams, managers know the threat that the long throw can possess, so we're sort of trying to make it work. But when you've not actually got the weapon in your armoury, there's no point trying to use it. But Van Ewijk, there's no doubt that is a massive weapon.
Plenty of orange shirts forward here for Coventry, all of them crowding around the goalkeeper in a very congested 6-yard box. Coventry 1-0 up. 25 minutes gone. Radoni's left-footed in swinging corner right underneath the crossbar. Easy take for O'Leary at his near post. Dominant goalkeeping and a quick overarm throw from O'Leary, and Jimo Aloba's control lets him down again. He just doesn't look sharp enough at the moment, the youngster. Bounced right off his foot. I mean, not an easy one to control, Courtney. I mean, you'll tell me if it was easy or not, but it just looked like he wasn't quite ready for it.
No, it's not easy, but his decision making is wrong. So I think what he's trying to do there, he wants to take the ball forward and then drive. So if you're doing that, you need to take it on your back foot, your left foot, so you can drive yourself forward, or you need to come back in, take the touch, steady yourself, and then bring others into play. He just gets it completely wrong.
A big goal in the promotion race this lunchtime at Hull. Hull 0, QPR 1. Paddy McNair with an own goal. QPR only a point adrift of the playoff places as it stands, and that's a blow to Hull City's top two hopes. It is going to be absolutely fantastic, isn't it, this race for not only the top two but the top six between now and the end of the season. Who knows who's going to finish in those playoff places?
Well, I think it's been similar all season in terms of that playoff race and how tight it's been. And still, you look all the way down to the likes of, Sheffield United and think if they put a run together, they can potentially get in it in their 15th. But, and now as well, as you mentioned, the top two, because that has got a lot more closer in recent weeks, the Championship is delivering once again.
Coventry are leading the way. A goal up at West Brom, free kick to Coventry away on their right, and Grimes is adamant that Jimo Aloba is not the foot. He's nowhere near 10 yards
and he's literally
back.
Just walked forward again.
Forward by Grimes, hoisted high into the penalty area. Thomas at the back post, nods it across. Latibodiere flicks it on, cleared away by Styles inside the 6-yard box. Jimo Aloba's touch again, heavy on the halfway line. Clever ball swept forward by Van Ewijk. Thomas in a crossing position, the centre half gets it all wrong, can't sort his feet out, then makes a good sliding challenge to block off Gilchrist. It's full pelt, both sets of players giving it their all, but Coventry leading by a goal to nil.
That back line for West Brom in the transition is all over the place. It was Bielik that time that was playing Thomas on. It's probably fortunate that it lands to Thomas and someone else. He couldn't quite sort his feet out. Thomas it was very much a centre half being found in a forward area.
Two more playoff contenders going head to head this lunchtime, and Swansea lead Bristol City in the Championship. Jan Vipotnik has scored yet again. Swansea 1, Bristol City 0, and you can't help but think that under Matos, the head coach, Swansea also have a real opportunity of gate crashing the playoffs, especially with the leading scorer in the Championship.
Exactly, it's incredible, and they're in 16th and with 42 points, the same as Sheffield United above them. They're above on goal difference. And then you look at Norwich.
Yeah.
What a turnaround they've had under Philippe Clement, by the way, and obviously it's just, again, how tight it is. It's absolutely incredible, this Championship season.
Adam Bridge will keep you up to date with all the goals as they go in from 3 o'clock in our live commentary this afternoon. Wrexham against Ipswich. On the halfway line for West Brom is Malumbi. Nearly half an hour played. I mean, on the balance of play, West Brom might say, well, there's only been one chance in the game.
Yeah, I would say so. And I don't think they've necessarily played terribly, but a lapse in concentration has let them down. And I do think Coventry have the better of it. They're looking more purposeful in the final third. So there's still a way back, don't get me wrong. But I just don't see where it comes from for West Brom. I think it's going to take a moment of brilliance out of the ordinary from someone, because in terms of the build-up play, it's not quite there.
Don't look like scoring at the moment, West Bromwich Albion. But here they are with Mowat, midway inside the Coventry half, back to Malumbi. Malumbi rolls the ball square to the near side in Gilchrist. Angled ball further forward to Wallace. Wallace into Price. Back outside to the right wing position in Gilchrist. Now back wide to Price again. Price delivers a cross into the near post and too close to Rushworth, who was able to handle it. Although Hegeba was making a darting near post run, and that seemed to just take the attention off the ball for a moment from the goalkeeper, but he's able to hang on.
Yeah, he sort of patted it sort of in the air, didn't he, to collect in the second time of asking. But I think he's such a safe pair of hands generally, isn't he, Rushworth?
Yes, rated by many as the best goalkeeper in the Championship and ever present this season in the league for Coventry, the man on loan from Brighton. It is 1-0 to Coventry on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus, fees applied to delivery orders, subject to availability and price may vary. Plymouth 1, the League One leaders Cardiff 0 is a surprise latest score. Cardiff City a goal down at Plymouth. Taylor for West Brom. Out to the left-hand side, the fullback Styles, who slices the ball straight out of play. A lot of game and effort in this game for West Brom. You certainly can't question that, but no great quality, it has to be said.
No, and it's the right idea because Van Eyck found himself in field. So Hegerberg starts that run and wants to get on the, on the blind side of Bobby Thomas down the channel, and probably, if the ball's better, definitely will have given it a good go because he's got a fair amount of pace when he gets going, Hegerberg, but the ball was terrible, quite frankly.
It is worth reminding you that if West Brom were to win today, Sheffield Wednesday would be relegated, the earliest relegation of any team in English Football League history, but that doesn't look likely, at least at the moment, though regardless, even if West Brom were not to win, Wednesday would have to beat Sheffield United in the Steel City derby tomorrow to keep themselves above the dreaded relegation line. Forward comes Radoni for Coventry, 25 yards out, unchallenged, left-footed shot, what a hit, what a goal, Radoni rifles it in for Coventry. West Brom backed off and backed off again, and Radoni punishes them with aplomb. That was a wonderful strike, left-footed, soaring into the corner. Boos at the Hawthorns, but cheers, and rightly so, from the Coventry end. The league leaders have a second, and in fine style. West Brom 0, Coventry 2.
It's sensational. It really is. What a strike from Radoni. What I will say is, though, we know he's got that in the locker. We've seen him do it. And for West Brom there, the defence to back off and back off and back off, it is a cardinal sin. No one goes and engages him. And is it difficult to still absolutely smash it in the top corner from there? Yes, of course. But when every single defender around you backs off, you are given a written invitation. And again, Gilchrist and Bielik are at 6s and 7s. They don't know what to do. The line is all out of sorts. What I will say is Mason Clark makes a fantastic run, the way that he sort of drops the shoulder like he's going to go wide. He drives inside, and that brings Gilchrist across when he could have just passed him on to Bielik. By that point, no one's going to engage Radoni, and then he absolutely thumps it in that top left-hand corner. What a strike.
A brilliant goal, and just Radoni's third of the season. Worth waiting for. We are top of the league is the chant from the Coventry fans. Here come West Brom with Wallace into the area, blocked off by De Silva, and Coventry scramble it clear up and over the halfway line. Plymouth 2, Cardiff 0. Plymouth have gone from relegation candidates to playoff contenders in League One, and they lead the league leaders by 2-0. But it's Coventry 2-0 in front here, a 4-point gap between them and Middlesbrough in second, and 9 points to Millwall in third. Middlesbrough and Millwall, who are both at home today. Borough up against Oxford and Millwall against Portsmouth at 3 o'clock. Header away by De Silva from the left back position for Coventry, and hoisted downfield by Grimes. Bouncing ball, Taylor got to be careful. Back header into the gloves of O'Leary. The only thing that sort of marred that goal was the West Brom defending. You can't understand them backing off, and there are more boos here as West Brom seemingly lacking urgency in terms of getting the ball forward. Gilchrist is having a nightmare in the right back position, and he has won a throw right in front of Frank Lampard. But what of the West Brom defending? It's
terrible, Joe, that in terms of keeping a stable line, it's not been happening at all. You mentioned Gilchrist, you're right, he's having an absolute shocker. And the way that Mason Clark comes across there for that goal, he ends up shoulder to shoulder with Bielik, who's also not covering himself in glory, by the way. So you've got the fullback and the centre half pretty much shoulder to shoulder, but then there's two players in front of Radoni, and they still don't go and engage him. It is beggars belief.
My, how he punished them. More loud boos. Malumbi's long pass thundered up the middle, goes astray, straight through to Rushworth, and it's Look, never nice speculating about the future of any head coach or manager, especially not 8 games in, but Eric Ramsey, the pressure will continue to grow if West Brom keep playing like this. Mason Clark away on the near side, the left, taking on Gilchrist in a one-on-one. Gilchrist trying to hold him up, the former Chelsea man, but he looks bereft of confidence at the moment. Out on the left, the near side, is De Silva. Forward to Mason Clark, left corner of the area. If Coventry get a third, it's surely game over in the first half. Van Ewijk out to the right now, and Sakamoto with the dancing footwork. Number 7. Back to Van Ewijk again. They're queuing up in the middle here, waiting for a cross. Are the Coventry players in orange? And Coventry patient with the ball. Back to the halfway line, and Latibodiere. There are 10 minutes of the first half to go. A chastening first half for West Brom. Fleetwood 0, Barrow 2. And suddenly it's Plymouth 3, Cardiff 1. So Cardiff got one back, but Plymouth have re-established their 2-goal advantage against the team top of the Championship. This could turn quite toxic, this atmosphere, you sense, Courtney, if the scoreline gets even worse for West Brom.
Yeah, I think you can feel it in the stadium. The home fans aren't happy with what they're seeing. There is an element of what next now. You see the panic in the West Brom players as they did get the ball back after that second goal. Then it's the almost resort to that long ball, and it comes to nothing through to Rushworth. And like you say, I think you only feel that this is going to get worse for West Brom. You don't see them getting back into it.
Sakamoto back to Grimes. This is as tough an assignment in the Championship as it gets. Sakamoto right edge of the penalty area. Lovely football. Dinks in the cross. Takes a deflection off Taylor. And that'll be a Coventry City corner at the Birmingham Road end of the ground. It is all Coventry City. The league leaders are in complete command here at the moment.
37 minutes, Joe. And I'm hoping it's just for half-time for the home fans. But it's starting to look very, very sparse, isn't it?
There are plenty of people who, as soon as that second goal went in, got up out of their seats and headed for the concourse areas, as you say, hopefully just to get a pie and a drink, but maybe not, who knows. Another day so far without a goal, another day without a result for West Brom. 2-0 Coventry, who have a corner. They're crowding the 6-yard box again. Delivered in by Rodoni, left-footed. Headed away at the near post by Taylor. Did well. The ball bounces up onto the thigh of Jed Wallace, who skips away down the right, the captain. Shirt tugged by Thomas. I wonder whether that'll be a yellow card. Malumbi had a word in the referee's ear, and Thomas is booked, and Frank Lampard's not too impressed.
No, I must admit, it's a foul, don't get me wrong, but I do think the referee's been very quick to get in his pocket today. The Van Ewijk one I totally agree with because it was cynical, but the Thomas and Sakamoto ones I'm not quite sure with.
Well, this is quite something. West Brom are readying a substitution already. George Campbell stripped and ready to go, so you get the sense that Gilchrist might not have long left in the game. High ball upfield by Price, bouncing down to the edge of the penalty area. Headed away by Latibodiere, scooped further forward by De Silva. They know when to go direct as well, Coventry City. They can mix it up as and when they need to. Onyeka wins a 50-50 in the middle of midfield, and they're totally dominating the game now. Coventry 2-0 up on Talksport 2. As Campbell gets ready to come on for West Brom. Good touch by Onyeka down the near side, the left, and he gets the return ball back from right, and Onyeka's kept his feet, trying to poke it through the middle towards Rodoni. It's bounced up. Gilchrist has nearly tripped Rodoni on the edge of the penalty area. Frank Lampard waves his arms up into the air, thinks that could have been a spot kick. Very clumsy by Gilchrist, who might be about to come off anyway.
He's got caught twice, isn't he? So in the build-up he gets caught, he goes to make the challenge, and then he's jogging back. He's probably looking across, he knows he's coming off, and as a player you know when you're having a bit of a mare as well, and then just gets caught. Is it enough for a penalty? The bar? Probably not, but it's clumsy, there's no doubt.
Well, West Brom are desperate for the half-time whistle already. We're only in the 39th minute. Here come Coventry. Van Ewijk inside right, works it out wide to the far side. Sakamoto can't keep it in play. He actually misjudged that, Van Ewijk, for once. And here comes the substitution. 39 minutes in. And it's Gilchrist coming off. And ironic cheers from some of the West Brom fans. On comes Campbell. I must say I do feel for Alfie Gilchrist, because what is that going to do for his confidence, Courtney? That's it, isn't it?
It's hard, because from one perspective as a manager, to sort of continue to let him have a nightmare and hang him out to dry and not bring him off is difficult. But also, you're right, for the confidence for him, it's going to shatter him. But what I will say is, more to the point in terms of Wallace, Bielik and Mowat with him should be giving him more support than what he's been getting. And you know when a player's getting overrun down the side. So I think it's not just him. Has he had a terrible game so far? Yes, but he could have been helped by his teammates.
Yes, it's not all on Gilchrist. I mean, you could really take off just about any West Brom player in this game, and there's a lot of experienced players on the field, but they just aren't playing with any confidence at the moment. West Bromwich Albion, 2-0 Coventry lead. Headed by Wright, downwards into the path of Rodoni, who scored that beautifully taken second goal. De Silva plays a clever ball down the near side the left, and Wright beaten to it by Bielik at the expense of a throw, which actually has gone West Brom's way, taken quickly by Campbell. He really hurled that at Malumbi. It bounced off his right foot. Coventry pressing high and hard. One back by Onyeka. Van Eyck blocked off by Styles. And now Styles can come forward for West Brom. Over the halfway line. Scampering forward down the inside left. No real support. Back from Van Eyck to Rushworth. What is the West Bromwich Albion plan? What is Eric Ramsey trying to get them to do, Courtney? Can you put a finger on the game plan at all at the moment?
No, I think it was initially to try and stay in it. I think the outlet was trying to be Jed Wallace, which worked to a degree. But where do you go from here? I don't know. And that's why I will never sit in a dugout, because it's a tough
be
one.
A manager.
I think you need to not concede, there's no doubt about that. And I like the fact, although it's hard for Gilchrist, I do like the fact that he's not waited to make a decision, because it's blatantly obvious that he's not having a good game. But I think in terms, I mentioned it, Mowat, he needs to come across from that defensive midfield and try and help. Both the defensive midfielders need to do that, because they like to overload in wide areas, Coventry, but they're not doing that quickly enough.
Sun has come out here at the Hawthorns. Coventry on the attack once more. Onyeka's ball angled to the near side, the left, and De Silva. Lovely flick by Mason Clark. Only half intercepted by Bielik. Retrieved by Onyeka, who prods it into the path of Rodoni. Left corner of the penalty area. Rodoni turning away from two in the blue and white shirts of West Brom as Grimes delivers a cross. Price left one in there on De Silva. Surprised that wasn't spotted by the referee. Grimes' crossover hit, and it's a West Brom throw. Hull 1, QPR 1 now in the Championship. Hull City have just scored an equaliser in that game. Joe Gelhardt has got the goal. Stoke 1, Leicester 0, so West Brom are still outside the relegation zone. Swansea 1, Bristol City 0. Elsewhere in the Championship this lunchtime, League 1, Plymouth 3, the leaders Cardiff 1, Rotherham 1, Doncaster 0, Wycombe 1, Stevenage 0, and in League 2, Fleetwood 0, Barrow 2, Swindon 0, Crewe 0. And you are up to date around the grounds around the country. We've got Wrexham against Ipswich at 3 on Talksport 2, Newcastle at Manchester City on Talksport at 8 tonight. 2 minutes of the first half remaining. Mikey Johnston warming up for West Brom. Long go Coventry, header away by Taylor from midway inside his own half, hooked forward by Styles, and then Chimo Aloba with a real fight ball for Mowat, who did well to scoop it forward. Mowat then wins it back midway inside his own half. Nervy touches all around for West Brom. Malumbi trying to scamper forward, and he's run into the tall Onyeka, who's really dominated that midfield battle. Mason Clark got back with a good challenge, and James Linnington actually, has he pulled it back to the challenge by Onyeka instead, Courtney?
He could well have done, but I thought both challenges were good challenges. So, strange one from the referee.
Couple of decisions today that have been a little odd, and Frank Lampard, I think, really felt Coventry should have had a penalty kick a few minutes ago, heading towards the final minute of normal time at the end of an entertaining first half for Coventry fans. But what the reaction from the West Brom supporters is going to be is another thing altogether. Flick by Hegerberg, down the inside right. Jimo Aloba, right corner of the penalty area, cuts it back across, steered away by Onyeka, further forward by De Silva, and now it's 3 against 3 on the break here for Coventry. Mason Clark from the halfway line, sweeping it wide right towards Rodoni. Header away by Taylor, who then tugs back Rodoni. And the free kick went West Bromwich Albion's way. And again, I'm not sure about that at all from the referee.
I don't get how you've got the likes of Sakamoto and Bobby Thomas on a yellow card for their challenges, and that's not a yellow. It's ridiculous.
Well, you can hear what the fans think of it. I think that's the Coventry fans.
Yeah, it is. I just don't get it. It's ridiculous. They're both competing for the ball, and then Taylor pulls Rodoni back by his shirt, yet he gives the foul the other way. It makes no sense from the referee.
Cardiff got a goal back at Plymouth, but they're 3-2 down as West Brom, through Styles, good ball in across the left-hand edge of the penalty area, but Hegerberg can't reach it. It's going to roll out and play. 3 added minutes at the end of the first half. Another half of football in which West Bromwich Albion have failed to score. And this is an amazing stat, Courtney, that I picked up last night. They've only scored 7 goals from open play at the Hawthorns all season.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bode well, does it, for the second half for West Brom? They don't look likely. They've had a couple of half chances at best, but you can't really see anything other than Coventry continuing to put the pressure on and trying to run away with this in the second half.
3 added minutes at the end of the first half here. Lots of West Brom fans already have left their seats. Empty blue seats everywhere you look at the moment at the Hawthorns. West Brom on the attack. Hegerberg in the left wing position. Thought about an early cross. Tucks it back to Jimo Aloba. 25 yards out is Malumbi. Central position. Knocks it further wide. Campbell's here on the overlap. Campbell chips in the cross. And Rushworth has spilled it initially, but eventually goes down to claim the ball at the second attempt. And more boos from the West Bromwich Albion supporters all around the ground here.
Well, they're disappointed with the end outcome, but actually I think they did really well, West Brom. They moved that from left to right. It's Campbell in the end, because they shifted it so quickly, he manages to get half a yard, and I think they're disappointed with the ball that he put in the box because it was lacking quality.
Well, you have to wonder how sustainable this situation is for Eric Ramsey, and as I say, it is never nice to question the future of any manager who's clearly working hard and has worked hard to get the opportunity, but the atmosphere here is bordering on toxic, isn't it, at times? Yeah,
it is. It's also, I suppose, the same set of fans that wanted Mason out as well. So it's difficult. They wanted change. And
Coventry have won it back half the pitch here. Sakamoto couldn't get away from the challenge of Malumbi, and West Brom scoop it clear up to Auna Hegerberg. Well, they were certainly on a poor run of form before Ryan Mason got sacked, that's for sure. Sakamoto winning it back inside the centre circle. In goes Jimo Aloba to win it back again for West Bromwich Albion. Sakamoto penalised once more. A free kick to West Brom, Courtney.
Yeah, and going back to what we're saying, look, it's the fans' prerogative. They want their team to do well, and they felt that at that point the only way to do that was a change in management, which I completely understand and appreciate, but also there is always that risk that when you change your manager, you don't always get the upturn that you think you might, and unfortunately that's the position that they're in at the moment.
Forward by Onyeka, flicked in field by Wright to the edge of the D, at the edge of the centre circle rather. Rodoni can't get it under his control. Bright and sunny in this part of the Midlands now. Last few seconds of added time to play at the end of the first half. 2-0 to Coventry. Long goes O'Leary, the West Bromwich Albion goalkeeper, over the head of Price, but Wallace has won it back, darting down the right hand side. Hegerberg is in the middle, near side of the field, close to the corner flag. Can he get the cross in? Little flick by Price back to Campbell, steers it square. Mowat, they've nearly run out of time here in the first half, West Brom. Mowat rolls the ball to his left, and Styles, West Brom playing from left to right. Now Jimo Aloba, left corner of the penalty area, thinks about the right footed cross, pokes it into the path of Mowat, urged to shoot, they're screaming at him to shoot. Wallace does, drags it wide. And boos at half-time. Thunderous boos from the West Bromwich Albion supporters as Eric Ramsey immediately races down the tunnel. More trouble brewing for the Baggies, just outside the relegation zone. And 2-0 down to resurgent league leaders Coventry, who are looking for a first win in 8 away matches. More significantly than that, Coventry, as it stands, heading 4 points clear at the top of the championship table. Mason Clark with the early opener. Rodoni added an excellent second at half-time. West Brom 0, Coventry 2.
Joe Shannon, thank you very much indeed. A very unhappy Hawthorns then, a desperate performance once again from the Baggies. Coventry in full control. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, it was the worst possible start for West Brom. 5 minutes in, Mason Clark with the goal, and such poor defending. He was in so easily over the top.
Yeah, and there's obviously a way to try and do things, isn't there? We mentioned it, before the game, that West Brom had to stay in the game. They had to try and stay stable, frustrate Coventry, and then hope that they could find something going forward. And you're right, to concede a goal in that way, you see it's a lack of communication, a lack of concentration, and there was always then from that point a mountain to climb.
Just talk to me about the finish. He manages to get enough. He's stretching, isn't he, to get it past the keeper, lift it over him. And despite the fact that O'Leary managed to get a hand to it and slow the ball down, I found it very strange. And I think you mentioned this in commentary. Gilchrist, who's been hooked, and we'll come on to that, didn't really try and throw himself at it to clear it off the line.
So there was a moment before I think it bounces and he can clear it and he doesn't. So then he's almost jumping on the line acrobatically to try and clear it at that point and throws himself into the net. But he does that about a second too late. It's very, very peculiar, because I thought when Max O'Leary does get the hand to it, I thought, right, that's just enough for Gilchrist to be able to clear this. And it, as you say, it's very peculiar. He's had a poor game, and who knows if he's come into it a little bit injured. Is he ill? Is he just completely off it and not having a good game? But either way, I did find that really strange.
Gilchrist comes off then on 40 minutes, and I know that you said that you like to see the manager being proactive, and I get that it's not a charity and West Brom are in a very difficult situation, but in terms of man management, in terms of not crushing Gilchrist and his confidence, could Ramsey have waited 5 minutes to get to half-time just so it's not hooking in the first half?
Yeah, potentially. As I mentioned in comms, I don't mind him making that early decision, but as you say, that decision has to be tempered with man management, how that player's going to react. I also think Bielik and Moa as well have something to answer for in terms of the way that Coventry create overloads, because, for example, Haji Wright will like to drift over to the left-hand side. You've got De Silva, you've then got Mason Clark on that side as well. So they've always got that overload. So at that point, I think Mowat needs to do better to come across and help that. Jed Wallace can maybe get back a little bit quicker, but I understand that the way that West Brom are playing, I think initially they're wanting him to be the outlet. But when then you're conceding and you're losing the game, you maybe have to change that a little bit. So as well, Bielik, he hasn't been good for my money either. The positioning's been poor. So you're probably right in the sense that it could have waited, but I will caveat that with Gilchrist was playing so badly that if they would continue to going down that side and then it's 3-0, I mean, the argument is 3-0 different to 2-0 for me in the first half. Yes, it is. So I understand where you're coming from, but I think it got to the point where Eric Ramsey felt like in that moment he had to make that change. And actually, they looked a little bit better, West Brom, for the change, and Campbell managed to do quite well a couple of times. He got high and wide and got in the final third. So there's an argument for both, I would say.
Major improvement needed then from West Brom in the second half, looking very desperate indeed for manager Eric Ramsey, still searching for his first win. For Coventry, full control. Mason Clark putting them ahead on 5 minutes, and then a rocket from Radoni just after the half-hour mark. Second half commentary comes next here on Talksport 2, and we'll look ahead to our 3 o'clock game as Wrexham host Ipswich.
Online, on DAB+, and on the app. This is Talksport 2. EFL Live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. The Big Arch is here to stay at McDonald's with its very own delicious sauce. Available from 11 a.m, subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
Roll up, breakfast, everyone.
It's time to scale up that fishmonger business, Anne. With free day-to-day online banking from Virgin Money, you'll be a big fish in no time. Now that's a real catch of the day. Open Virgin Money's M account for business now. UK excludes NI, Channel Islands and Isle of Man. 18 plus fees apply for chaps and international payments. Terms and exclusions apply. Backed by the current account switch service. Virgin Money is a trading name of Clydesdale Bank PLC.
The moment they walk down the aisle, you want to see it all and feel ready. Our advanced eye test checks both your eyesight and eye health, so you feel confident in life's important moments. It includes a UV protection and dry eye assessment, plus an OCT scan for early detection of conditions like glaucoma. Book your advanced eye test today. Vision Express. Step out with confidence. T&Cs apply. Upgrade your free NHS PRSI medical card eye test for a nominal fee.
When you switch the family's unlimited plans to Vodafone, you save. So while Nan's learning to voice note,
can you hear this? Is this on?
You're saving. While your daughter's setting a new high score on her favourite game.
Get in!
You're saving. While your son's video calling his crush for 3 hours.
I love you more.
You're saving. Save more when you switch your family's plans to Vodafone with Vodafone Together. Eligible plans from the 30th of October. Credit check and terms apply.
Benny's parents, thanks for coming.
Hiya.
So, Benny has really blossomed this term.
You're telling me? He outgrew his bike. We sold it on eBay.
Oh, that's not quite what I meant.
It's free to sell on there.
Free to sell?
Easy too. Sold Benny's bike, your guitar, my jacket.
You sold my guitar?
Shall we talk about Benny?
When it's this easy to sell for free, you can't help but say when it's eBay. Things people love. T's and C's apply. Excludes vehicles.
Stop. Listen. Chicken. The 10 mini fillet bucket. $7.99. 10 succulent mini fillets. Buy. Eat. Digest. Good. Repeat. Get the deal. Believe in chicken.
KFC.
Until 22nd of March. Subject to availability. Participating restaurants only. Excludes delivery. Full T's and C's at kfc.co.uk.
Power up your business with the Peugeot LCV range. From compact to heavy duty and available in all electric or diesel powertrains. There's a Peugeot van that fits the job. Buy a new Peugeot van between the 16th February and 16th March and get a £750 saving. Plus, get a free home charger with standard installation when you choose an all-electric model. Peugeot. Business powered. Valid from 16th February to 16th March 2026. Saving on OTR price. Business users only. Selected stock. Participating retailers. Full T's and C's apply. Visit Peugeot.co.uk.
Hawksby and Jacobs on your side every weekday afternoon from 1 on Talksport with Toolstation. Delivering cutting-edge comment, a catalogue of riveting guests, and drilled-down dialogue to power up your lunchtime. Plus, breaking news, views, and loads of laughs. Don't miss the nation's favourite sporting lunch with the legendary Hawksby and Jacobs every weekday afternoon from 1 on Talksport with Toolstation. Next stop, Toolstation.
Join the Football Collective.
The cool, clinical finish.
EFL Live on Talksport 2. Enter the Dragon.
And the Red Dragons have arrived in the championship. Six it through. Keeper Moore! For Wrexham!
Do you really like it? Do you really like it? We're loving it, loving it, loving it. We're loving it like this.
It's Wrexham who've got it. Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0. Josh Windass from close range converting home after that period of possession they'd had in the last 10 minutes. Wrexham 1, Ipswich 0.
Absolutely, there's always been expectations at this club, and can live with that no problem. And
they can beat anybody in the division. They beat the leaders. They've got a chance. They really have, because the championship is wide open this season.
If I look at anybody in this league that can go on a run of wins, it's Ipswich.
Egley the edge of the area. What a goal! What a fantastic goal!
Who's got the best team on paper? Is it us? Is it Southampton? Is it Leicester? It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter.
So it's the first of 2 head-to-heads that these teams have got in the space of 7 days here, and there'll be no second-choice sides for the championship affair.
Good afternoon, this is EFL Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2. I'm Ollie Klink. Thanks for sharing your Saturday with us. We're bringing you live championship action throughout the afternoon. It's currently West Brom 0, Coventry 2. The Sky Blues heading 4 points clear at the top of the championship. Let's head over, though, to the racecourse ahead of our second commentary game this afternoon. Wrexham taking on Ipswich. It kicks off at 3 o'clock. Delighted to welcome in your match commentator for that game later on Talksport's Adam Bridge. Adam, it's just over a week since these two last met in the Cup. Wrexham came out on top with a 1-0 win, but you can expect different lineups, a very different feel to the game, given what's at stake for both teams.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ollie. Afternoon, everyone. I think you can. I mean, again, you don't read too much into it because Ipswich very much shuffled the pack on that Friday night in that 1-0 victory. Twice they've played against Wrexham this season, have yet to score a goal. But coming here to the racecourse ground, which, as we know, over the years and during their ascent through the leagues, has been an absolute fortress for them. They've actually lost 6 games here, which is probably quite surprising this season. They haven't won in their last 3 as well. In fact, the away form for Wrexham has been better in recent weeks. But these two sides are in such good form between them. I think Wrexham 6 wins in 10, Ipswich 6 wins in 9. There's 6 points separating them, but of course Ipswich do have those 2 games in hand in terms of trying to chase down Coventry at the top of the table. So I think whatever we get this afternoon, we are going to get a full throttle, full-on, entertaining game of football.
And the race for the playoffs, as it always is just so ridiculously tight at the moment, Adam. Can you see, though, that almost fairy tale of a 4th successive promotion for Wrexham?
Oh, I can see them getting the playoffs. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think the worry for them at the moment is that the goals have dried up a little. Keith Moore hasn't scored since Boxing Day, so that's 8 games in total. He's had a couple of injury issues. Josh Windass, who scored last to win that cup game, only got 1 goal in 7. Ollie Rathbone's the one who's kind of come to the party in recent times with 5 goals since he got his first start on New Year's Day. So the goals have dried up a little bit for Wrexham, and I think the worry will be this home form. Phil Parkinson has made a great deal about how this place has to be a fortress. This is where we build from, because throughout the early part of this season, the away form was fairly wretched. But as I've said, they've won 4 of their last 5 away from home. But here, they faced a couple of defeats in their last 3. So there'll be a bit of nerves. They do have a tendency, the 11,000 here, to get on their backs if things aren't going well. But I can see them in the playoffs. And as we know, once you get into the playoffs, it's an absolute lottery as to what might happen.
And talk to me about Ipswich briefly. They sit 5th. They're 6 points behind the Automatics, but they do have a couple of games in hand. Is there hope for them stealing into 2nd?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you would have thought at the start of the season they were kind of the class horse in the race, weren't they? But obviously they had a wretched start. They've only actually lost 3 of their last 20, all of which have been away from home, incidentally. So they are in form. McKenna has spent money. He juggles the side frequently. He's got quality. I think they're missing Philogene at the moment. They'll have Marcelino Nunes back today. He's missed the last 4 through injury. So that will give them something a little extra. And with those 2 games in hand, yes, everyone wants the points on the board. I think there's no 2 ways about that. But having 2 games in hand, they are there or thereabouts. And they will be applying the pressure to Coventry and Middlesbrough. I think there's no doubt about that.
Adam, looking forward to it later. Thanks very much indeed, Adam Bridge there, your commentator for that game a bit later on as Wrexham take on Ipswich. Right now, though, it is West Brom 0, Coventry 2. The players are out for the second half at the Hawthorns, and it is a big one for West Bromwich Albion and Eric Ramsey. Is there any route for them back into this game? Let's rejoin your commentary team, the former Liverpool women's striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, alongside your match commentator Joe Shannon.
Well, Ollie, it does feel a tough route back into this for Eric Ramsey. Yet to win since taking charge on only the 11th of January, but you could tell by the nature of the atmosphere, the pressure already starting to crank up on Ramsey here. Not that he is wholly at fault, but there does seem to be a disconnect between this West Brom team and the crowd. They've been sent out early for the second half. We're still waiting on the league leaders Coventry, who produced a very efficient performance so far. Ephron Mason-Clark and a very well taken Jack Radoni second. And the Sky Blues, playing in bright orange today, are in total command of this game. Frank Lampard's team, though he'll be aware, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, that if West Brom were to get the next goal, then there could be an interesting dynamic to the game.
Yeah, of course. So goal after half-time is always important. And they've shown elements, little half chances, West Brom, at the start of the first half and the end, where actually down that right-hand side, especially now Campbell's come on and Jed Wallace, they've had little moments, but certainly need to do a lot more to trouble Coventry, and more than anything, the defending has to get 100 times better.
Well, there are brighter skies overhead now, and bright times really do seem to be looming for Coventry City in their search for a return to the Premier League for the first time since relegation in 2001. And no changes for either team as the second half begins. West Brom in the black and white striped shirts, white shorts and black and blue socks. That's blue and white striped shirts. Attacking the goal to our left-hand side. And straight away on the attack. Turned across goal by Hegerber. Header away by Latabodiere for Coventry. Nodded back into the penalty area by Jed Wallace. And now Malumbi with a chance to perhaps get a shot away. Blocked off by Grimes. He does really well getting in front of Malumbi. The captain of the league leaders, Matt Grimes. And he wins Coventry a free kick inside their penalty area. West Brom in the dark blue and white from right to left in the second half. And Coventry from left to right towards the Smethwick end, which is split between home and away supporters. Coventry in their bright orange kit And no changes at half-time. I'll remind you the two teams in just a moment. Rushworth hammers the ball downfield for Coventry. Header away by West Bromwich Albion's George Campbell, who was a replacement for Gilchrist late in the first half. Now Wallace tearing down the right-hand side for West Brom at the Birmingham Road end. Held up by De Silva. Two in the middle to aim at as the sunshine gets even brighter overhead. Mowat, 25 yards out, teed up for the low shot, takes a deflection and goes wide. What's the referee going to say? He's going to say corner. Bright start to the second half from West Brom. Eric Ramsey's clearly had words.
Yeah, it's a really good start from them, especially I mentioned we know that Jed Wallace is going to be the outlet and is doing well down that right-hand side. He takes a little bit of an opportunity to cut the ball back, and it's a good opportunity on the edge of the box to take the shot.
Everybody back for Coventry here. Price right-footed, drilled into the near post, cleared away by Latabodiere. Skywards from the edge of the 6-yard line. Headed back in towards the edge of the penalty area by Bielik. A bouncing ball. Coventry don't necessarily deal with it, especially impressively. Nudged forward by De Silva up to the halfway line, where it's retrieved by Callum Stiles. West Brom looking for much greater urgency and impetus in attack in the second half. Price with a low ball in, cleared away by Latabodiere. There's certainly, in theory, plenty of quality and experience at this level in the West Brom team, but they're 2-0 down. Price marauding forward towards the edge of the penalty area. No foul by Onyeka. Coventry smuggle the ball away from danger, but the intensity and the tempo is certainly far greater from West Brom here in the early stages.
Yeah, it isn't. In one moment, that's obviously a positive thing, because they need to get back into the game, but it's also something that really frustrates fans, because they're thinking, well, where was this for most of the first half? And I think Coventry will know that they've got to ride this moment. The first 5 or 10 minutes, there'll be a big reaction from West Brom. There's, I'm guessing, a few choice words being said in the changing room, but Coventry know, I think if they can ride it out for 10 or so minutes, then they've got the ability and the quality to come back into the game. But take nothing away from the start from the Baggies.
All West Brom in the opening 3 minutes of the second half. Their goalkeeper is O'Leary. Campbell, Bielik, Taylor on the ball now, and Stiles in a back four. Mowat and Malumbi holding. Jimo Aloba, Price and Wallace in support of Hegerberg up front. Long ball thundered down the middle by Taylor. Not enough direction on it to find Price, and gathered by the Coventry goalkeeper Rushworth. Van Eyck, Thomas, Latabodiere and De Silva in front of him. Onyeka and Grimes holding. Rodoni, Sakamoto and Mason Clark in support of Hadji Wright. Rodoni, the number 5, angled ball straight out of play. Totally mishit that, did Jack Rodoni. He didn't see many of those mishits in the first half, certainly not when he scored that second goal, Courtney.
No, I've a little giggle to myself, because he looked round at the ground after he shanks the ball out of play, as if to say, it wasn't my fault.
Must have been the pitch,
oh,
surely.
Of course it is. I mean, to be fair, we did mention it. It probably doesn't look the slickest.
No, there are one or two bobbles. Jimo Aloba blocked off by Onyeka in the middle of midfield. Loose ball has dropped to Mason Clark, who gathers it forwards and is tripped by the retreating West Bromwich Albion midfield player Mowat. And that'll be a free kick to Coventry. Attacking the end that houses 2,500 away supporters in the second half. Noisy boos at half-time from the West Bromwich Albion support, no doubt about that. But significantly, Coventry heading 4 points clear at the top of the Championship and 9 clear of Millwall. Middlesbrough in second, Millwall in third, both play at 3 o'clock. Borough against Oxford, Millwall against Portsmouth. Our live commentary is Wrexham Ipswich. Free kick taken by Grimes, angled towards the right, headed goalwards by Thomas, nodded clear by Bielik. Loose ball will drop to Sakamoto. Sky blue boots on, back towards Thomas, well dispossessed by Jimo Aloba. And now Mowat will drive into the left back area, find Jimo Aloba again, and he wins West Brom a throw. A little more intent and tenacity about West Bromwich Albion, but it is still 2-0 to Coventry. 5 minutes into the second half on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability, and price may vary. We'll have the Steel City Derby for you tomorrow, live on Talksport 2, a midday kick-off at Bramall Lane. And as it stands, Sheffield Wednesday will have to win that, or they will be relegated by their greatest rivals. I'm sure that Blades fans are relishing the prospect, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, very much so.
Given away by Campbell on the edge of the West Brom box. He then wins it back off Mason Clark, not before a foul's committed on Rodoni. and it's a Coventry free kick, very much within shooting range, just to the right of the edge of the D.
Yeah, and the referee, in all fairness, James Linnington, I see what he was trying to do, because the ball then scurries out to the left-hand side, and I think he was just waiting to see whether Coventry would get an advantage from that. But as soon as they don't, he pulls it back, and his free kick's in a really good area. What is it? 21, 22 yards out, so enough time to get it over the wall and back down in time.
Couple of sky blue Coventry banners behind that goal. The away support are on their feet in anticipation here. Van Eyck and Redoni in close discussion. Stevenage with an equaliser away at Wickham in League One. Wickham 1, Stevenage 1 is the latest score. We'll keep you up to date with all the goals as they go in from the EFL throughout the afternoon. Free kick Coventry, just over 20 yards out. Right of centre, will it be Redoni with the left foot or Van Eyck with the right? 5 in the West Brom wall, everybody back. Van Eyck curls it into the wall, right-footed, comes back out on the volley, and again that's well blocked by the wall. Bielik in the way not once but twice. Redoni's out on the right, and Jimo Aloba gets across. Applause from the West Brom fans down below us in the Halfords Lane stand. We're high up on the gantry here, and it's a throw to Coventry, which Van Eyck will take long.
Yeah, it's the first long throw opportunity in the final third that he's had so far this game.
Here comes the very talented Dutchman who signed a new contract earlier this week along with De Silva and Liam Kitching. Long throw Van Eyck in towards Thomas in the area, headed away by Campbell, drops down to De Silva on the edge of the box. Sakamoto trying to nudge it square, away by Price, and now Wallace is on the counter-attack. Over the halfway line he goes here for West Bromwich Albion. Wallace surging forward down the right-hand side, 2 in the middle. One is Hegerber, over his head, headed away by Van Eyck at the back post. Now it's dropped to Styles with a shot from a long way out. That is charged down by Bobby Thomas. This is a goal that West Brom fans won't want to hear about. It's gone to Leicester at Stoke, the first goal of the Gary Rowett era, and it's 1-1. Divine Mukasa has scored for Leicester, so the gap between Leicester inside the relegation zone and West Brom just outside it is down to a single point. And if Leicester were to score, West Brom would move into the bottom 3. It's all on the shoulders of Eric Ramsey, the man standing a steep drop down to the touchline below, the man standing almost directly below us. But of course, you've got to control the controllables, and all they can do is produce a better performance.
Oh yeah, exactly. And to be fair to them, in the first period of this second half, they have done. It's not necessarily led to anything, but they can't control what other teams are doing.
I mean, they've got to start having shots on target for one thing. Not scored in their last 3 league matches, and failed to score in 4 of the 6 league games under their recently appointed head coach.
Didn't have a shot on target in the first half, and as you say, as my old gaffer Neil Redfern used to say, if you don't shoot, you don't score. You've got to buy a ticket to win the raffle.
He's not wrong. 2-0 to Coventry. West Brom on the attack. Wallace with a low cross, cleared away by Latabodiere, out towards the far side of the field. Campbell is there to retrieve it. Campbell goes to ground. Was he fouled by Mason Clark, tugging his shirt from behind? No, says the referee, and the assistant with the bright yellow flag signals that it is a Coventry City throw. Got the floodlights on here at the Hawthorns, but you hardly need them at the moment. Such is the sun shining high above us here on a day where we've got plenty more live football for you. We'll have team news from the racecourse ground ahead of our 3 o'clock commentary shortly, and Manchester City against Newcastle will be on Talksport at 8 o'clock. The best way to follow the action, as always, is to download our free app, and then you can swipe between both stations as and when you need to. Good noise from the Coventry fans. Their team heading for a 19th league win of the season, and a first since the end of November away from home, which does feel significant. The first since they beat Middlesbrough on the road. Forward ball over hit by Mowat, and through it goes to Rushworth, the Coventry goalkeeper.
Yeah, and you can feel now that the tempo of the game has changed. It's hit that 10-minute mark and it started to slow down. That the initial impetus from West Brom, it is still coming, but it's certainly not quite as frantic and urgent, and this is where Coventry will now try and take control.
Hegerber's layoff is a poor one away from goal, nudged forward by Mason Clark down the inside left. Hadji Wright can't get to it. Easy take for goalkeeper O'Leary on the edge of his penalty area. Haji Wright has not really been involved in the game.
Yeah, you're taking the words out of my mouth there, Joe. I was going to say, it's not a great ball into Haji Wright, don't get me wrong, but it's certainly not been in the game.
Price down the right for West Brom, beaten to it by Latabodiere. He was a bit hesitant there, Price, in that 50-50. Looked like he should have been certain to get his cross in. A lot of West Brom fans at the Birmingham Road end unhappy with that, but they have won a corner of Latabodiere.
Then you know where that comes from as well. So Haji Wright, he makes that run in behind. He doesn't get the ball, but then he doesn't recover quickly enough. He handballs back. He needs to get back into position. And it's far too easy for West Brom to get out there.
Swindon 0, Crewe 2 is the latest score this lunchtime in League 2. Corner to West Brom, who are 2-0 down here. Delivered in high by Mowat, in swinger, nudged away from goal by Taylor and wide. Difficult chance at the back post for the experienced former Burnley and Leeds man Charlie Taylor, who is on a season-long loan from Southampton. I think it bounced off his thigh or his knee, and in a congested area, plenty of bodies between him and the goal, flew well wide. Rushworth puts the ball down as we head towards the hour mark here on Talksport 2, and Coventry lead by 2-0. On the halfway line, little flick by Jimo Aloba, forward towards Malumbi, beaten to it by Grimes. A third goal for Coventry, you feel, and the game is killed off. And Radoni darting down the right, Malumbi still down, he's only just getting to his feet. At the other end of the field, here come Coventry on the attack. Haji Wright towards the dead ball line, heavy touch by Wright, under the challenge of Campbell, who has dealt with the Coventry threat on the West Brom right much better than Gilchrist did, and it's a goal kick to West Brom.
Yeah, and we can see the substitutes, and Alice Sims being one of them, warming up below us, and I just wonder how long left on the pitch Haji Wright has, because he's certainly not made the impact that I think Frank Lampard would have wanted today.
Certainly Coventry have been the better team. They've been efficient without being necessarily outstanding, and they've taken the 2 goals well. The top of the Championship looks like this. Coventry 65 points from 33, Middlesbrough 61 from 32, Millwall on 56, Hull on 55, level at the moment with QPR, and Ipswich on 54, but they have 2 games in hand on the teams they're chasing and 3 games in hand on Coventry City. They are away at Wrexham at 3 o'clock, live with us. Grimes, the Coventry captain, square to Radoni, who pops it back to the halfway line, and the waiting Latabodiere. Now De Silva. Coventry in this luminous orange, very bright orange away kit. Left to right in the second half. Sakamoto out on the near side of the field. Shimmies infield, left-footed in swinging cross. Back post here is Mason Clark to head it back. Radoni couldn't get it under control initially. Cleared away only as far as Onyeka. Onyeka to Mason Clark from the angle. Can he get the shot in? Low cross to the near post is gathered by O'Leary.
Well, I thought that Radoni might try and hit this a little bit earlier, but it's bobbling, he can't get it under control. And it's the same with Onyeka, actually, when it comes to him in the edge of the box. He tries to take the touch in. I think just swing a left foot at that one and try and get the strike off. But as I thought would happen, Coventry now looking better in this second half, trying to take control of the game. And West Brom just looked bereft of confidence and quite frankly out of ideas.
Equaliser for Doncaster at Rotherham in that Yorkshire derby. Rotherham 1, Doncaster 1. Rotherham in the relegation zone. West Brom are going to make 3 changes and get some firepower onto the field. Daryl Dike, Josh Madger and Mikey Johnston are all going to come onto the field for West Brom very shortly. 1-1 against Coventry, whose next game away at Sheffield United, incidentally, is live with us on Talksport 2 in the middle of next week. Coventry go back to Rushworth, looking up into the sunshine. Square ball to Thomas, tall and slender, the centre half. Thomas will chip a pass up towards halfway, intercepted by Mowat on his chest, and Jimo Aloba knocks it back to Campbell, who'll carry the ball upfield. Campbell square now to Styles, and they're going through some final instructions, the 3 West Brom players who are about to come on. We'll bring you news of those changes in just a moment, but before we do that, let's go to the racecourse ground and get team news. Wrexham against Ipswich. Here's Adam Bridge.
A couple of changes for Wrexham from the midweek draw against Bristol City. Nathan Broadhead against his former side drops down to the bench alongside the in-form Sam Smith. Josh Windass and Keith Moore come into the starting 11. As for Ipswich, well, they made a lot of changes here in the FA Cup, so we'll go back to the team that played Derby last time out in the Championships, and they're unchanged. We're underway from 3 o'clock. Perry Groves alongside me at the racecourse ground for Wrexham against Ipswich.
Thank you, Adam. I'm really looking forward to that game on the way home. That'll be a cracker in the Championship. I'm sure there'll be plenty of goals. So 3 changes for West Brom. Daryl DK, who's not scored since May, for Auna Hegerber. Josh Madger for Jed Wallace. And Mikey Johnston replaces Jamaldine Jimo Aloba. Not really any great surprise in terms of the personnel for any of those 3 changes. It's like for like, isn't it, Courtney?
Yeah, and something had to change. I think now you're in a position where you're already losing, so you've got to go out, you've got to throw the kitchen sink at it. Now, as it goes on and as they go forward more and open up more gaps, that will obviously sort of play into Coventry's hands, but now it's a risk that they have to take. It's quite simple.
A goal at Stoke City for Leicester would send West Bromwich Albion spiralling into the relegation zone. They are under serious threat, having not been in the 3rd tier since the early 90s. West Bromwich Albion, a long proud run of football in the championship level and indeed in the top flight, of course, in many of the intervening years, but relegation a real possibility for West Brom this season. 2-0 down here to the league leaders Coventry. Hull 1, QPR 1 is the latest score in the Championship. Stoke 1, Leicester 1, Swansea 1, Bristol City 0. I'll give you the latest in League 1 in a moment. Coventry nearly win it back on the edge of the penalty area with Onyeka. Charging forward on the counter is Price. Chips the ball over the halfway line. DK knew he was in an offside position, so had to run backwards. Johnston was never going to reach it. Coventry go back to Rushworth, who turns in field away from the on-rushing DK. How's that for confidence from the goalkeeper?
Yeah, it's calm and composed as a forward, though. You hate it. You just want to smash the goalkeeper after they've done that.
You can't wait for the next chance at goal. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, former striker, played for Sheffield United and Liverpool. Over an hour gone at the Hawthorns, and you're absolutely right, Courtney. The energy seems to have been sapped out of West Brom again now, and it's certainly gone from the crowd after a bright start to the second half.
Yeah, and you give that big effort in the first 10 minutes, hoping that you can put the ball in the back of the net, and you continue on that type of vein, and then the energy keeps going. But you see now, I think Coventry are expecting it as well. They almost sat in to an extent a little bit, tried to soak up the pressure, and then they'll feel that they've got the better players, obviously in the better position in the game as well.
Big diagonal ball by Malumbi, very good one, well controlled, plucked out of the air by Price. Right corner of the penalty area, but his cross is charged down by De Silva, and Onyeka, the number 16 on loan from Brentford, his first of a loose ball for Coventry. Plymouth 3, the League One leaders Cardiff 2 in the second half in the southwest. Rotherham 1, Doncaster 1, and Wycombe 1, Stevenage 1, and in League 2, Fleetwood 0, Barrow 2, Swindon 0, Crew 2, and you're up to date around the grounds, and Adam and Perry will keep you in touch with all the scores on Talksport 2 into our commentary of Wrexham against Ipswich later. Well, the game at the moment is a little scrappy. Coventry win a free kick on the far side. Mason Clark down under the challenge of the American Campbell, but it's the Coventry fans in full and jubilant voice at the moment. And we've talked a lot about West Brom, Courtney, but for Coventry City, the prospect of a return, a long-awaited return to the Premier League feels genuine, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and I think it's sort of when you grow up in different eras, and my era was remembering Coventry in the Prem, so I think the way that they've performed this season, albeit it's not necessarily at the canter that it was at the start of the season, I think they're putting something very good together. I think you see where the club's come from, and in terms of the issues that they had with the ownership, the ground and things like that, where now the club, the fan base are very much together. They've got an exciting young manager in Frank Lampard, a very good squad as well, and that will look to continue, and they'll try and add to that, and I think it will be if they are to go up, which it looks like they will, an exciting proposition for them next season in the Premier League.
Yeah, there were the dark days of League 2, weren't there, as recently as 2017, 2018. West Brom had possession with Malumbi down in the right back position, finds Campbell, who rolls the ball forward, intercepted by Grimes. They just do not look like scoring, West Brom. I think the endeavour and the effort's definitely there, but it's unusual for a team where certainly there is some championship quality in this 11, but they are. Is it a lack of confidence, or is it they're not doing the right things on the pitch, a combination of both maybe. It's all going wrong at the moment, and now Hadji Wright in a tussle with Bierlich at the other end of the field. They were holding on to each other's shirts. Mason Clark takes over, lays it square towards Grimes. It's too far in front of Grimes, hit by Van Eyck anyway, and over the top.
And going back to what you said, Joe, I think there's an element of a few things at play here for West Brom. They're certainly bereft of confidence. There's no doubt about that. I think defensively, it's individual errors, and they're certainly not doing the right thing. But then does that stem back to the fact that Eric Ramsey comes in, he tries to play a 3, they're changing back to a 4, which they certainly look more comfortable with. But no, there's that element of a player of changing between different formations. Certainly doesn't always help for consistency. And then there's the confidence thing, where there's an element of you don't just find it, you have to be courageous to then find the confidence again when you're without it. And I think there's elements you said earlier where they're getting into the final third and they're not taking shots on, and they're not doing the right thing, so it then sort of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Well, there was a spare ball in the Coventry end for a moment there, and they were chucking it around the fans and loving life. Terrific noise, but here come West Brom. Price right hand edge of the area, cuts it back behind Madger. Johnston leaves it, Styles is onto it, and the shot is blocked by Thomas. Well, that was certainly an effort that was heading for the target, no question about that.
Yeah, it was a brilliant block by Thomas as well, because you see the way Styles hits it, bags of power behind it, and I think Rushworth, because of the bodies in front of him, was unsighted.
Johnston scampering infield from the left hand side. Coventry with everybody back behind the ball. Quarter of the game to go. West Brom 0, Coventry 2. Taylor back to Mowat. Everybody inside the Coventry half bar West Brom goalkeeper O'Leary. The ball has been played out to the right. Jason Malumbi inside right, pulls it across goal, only half away, drops down towards Styles, touch from Redoni, now on Yeka, breaks away and chips it over the top towards Wright. Wright can't keep the ball in play on the far side of the field, and it's a West Brom throw.
Well, I've not necessarily criticised Wright, but I've said he's not particularly been in the game there, but that's not his fault, and that's where Onyeka has to do better. It's not a difficult ball for someone of his quality, and then if you isolate Hadji Wright with defenders, you know that he's got the ability and the pace to get past him, but Onyeka didn't give him a chance there.
West Brom only a point clear of the relegation zone. Coventry 4 points ahead of Middlesbrough at the summit of the Championship. That's the state of play at the moment, with Wrexham against Ipswich to come. Longo West Brom, headed away by Thomas, racing back towards his own goal. De Silva in a tangle with Madger. Last touch off De Silva. West Brom throw. Still over 20 minutes to go. If West Brom could get a goal, then you never know. Charlton at home and Oxford away to come next for West Brom.
Well, they're huge games. Look, you always want to try and accrue points and win games where you can, but honestly, if you're looking at this, they're probably not expecting anything from it, whereas we always talk about in and around, and you've got to go and beat the teams in and around you, so it's imperative that they get points from those two. West Brom.
A triple change coming up for Coventry City. West Brom, meanwhile, with a long throw, hurled into the box by Campbell. Drops to DK from the angle, shot charged down. Campbell delivers right-footed, headed away by Mason Clark and cleared further by first De Silva and then Redoni up and over the halfway line. Coventry did well to deal with that threat. Swindon 1, Crewe 2 is a latest score. That in League 2, of course. West Brom take their time on the ball with Malumbi. The home fans have not really got much patience for that. Over the halfway line goes Alex Mowat. Well, Sheffield Wednesday seems set to live to fight at least one more day. Steel City Derby tomorrow on Talksport 2. Johnston's cross comes off Sakamoto, and a corner to West Bromwich Albion away to our left at the Birmingham Road end.
Sakamoto sticks to task there really well. We know that Johnston's a tricky customer, but he deals with it for now.
Come on, you baggies, is the chant from the home end. Plenty forward in the dark blue and white. Whipped in by Johnston, and the corner is headed over at the near post by Malumbi, who got a good jump but couldn't direct the header on target. Here come the Coventry changes. Sims for Wright. We're probably not especially surprised about that. Josh Eccles a young man who's been at Coventry for such a long time in his career. Joined the club at the age of just 7. Is going to replace the scorer of the second goal, Jack Rodoni. A little bit more defensive stability. Rodoni's name being chanted by the Coventry support. And I thought it was going to be a triple change, but maybe is it just the 2 for now? I thought Thomas Asante was ready to go, but he's actually gone to sit back down behind Frank Lampard, and so it's just a double change.
Yeah, and it's not a surprise, to be honest. I think it had gone a bit stale for Coventry. Rodoni's done his job, and as I mentioned, Wright wasn't really in the game. Some of it not necessarily his problem, but sometimes as a centre forward you've got to go and impose yourself on the game.
Here is Sims. First touch for the number 9 is a heavy one, and it's won back by West Bromwich Albion. Clipped forward down the right-hand side by Onyeka, out of play for a throw. Right in front of Frank Lampard. Doncaster have taken the lead now away at Rotherham. They lead by 2-1. Wickham back in front at home to Stevenage, also leading 2-1. And it's Fleetwood 1, Barrow 2 in League 2. Fleetwood with a route back into the game. Scores as you were elsewhere in the Championship. Hull 1, QPR 1, Stoke 1, Leicester 1, Swansea 1, Bristol City 0. Van Eyck is calling for his goalkeeper, Latabodiere, rather calling for Rushworth to come out quickly and claim a loose ball, and that he does. Not had a save to make, Carl Rushworth, in the game.
No, still searching, aren't they? West Brom, I think, for that shot on target. The closest they've came, especially in the second half, was that shot that was blocked by Styles, but aside from that, they're still lacking potency.
16 and a half minutes to go in the game. 2-0 Coventry lead. 16 and a half minutes plus added time here on Talksport 2. And do stay with us. We'll have Wrexham against Ipswich live for you from 3 at the Racecourse Ground. Plus Adam Bridge will keep you up to date with all the goals as they go in. 8 o'clock tonight on Talksport. It's Manchester City against Newcastle. Plymouth 4. The League One leaders Cardiff 2. Plymouth on the playoff charge. Well, you can only see Coventry giving this game away if they get a little complacent, or if there is a moment of absolute brilliance from out of the blue here for West Brom, who are showing plenty of endeavour and fight, but no quality really whatsoever. Playing from right to left in the second half, and the triple change made by Eric Ramsey, who's down below us with his arms folded, hasn't really made a difference as yet. Johnston carries the ball forward and runs straight into Van Eyck on the halfway line. Van Eyck surging down the right. Sims is square. Van Eyck looks up from the dead ball line and nearly sprints beyond Taylor, but has carried the ball out of play.
Yeah, and I think as he went down, he was maybe looking for a foul, hoping that he potentially buys it off the assistant or the referee, but he just runs out of turf.
You get the sense, Courtney, that this isn't necessarily a game that the Coventry fans will remember for too long in the context of the promotion race, but it's the sort of game that you just need to win if you want to go up.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't the one that they'll remember for sure, but it's about the importance of the 3 points.
It's not over yet. Callum Styles with a cross for West Brom, headed away by Latabodiere, drops down to Price, 25 yards out, tried to curl it goalwards, blocked by Onyeka. The ball spirals towards the dead ball line, and De Silva prevents the corner, hacks it out of play for a throw. They're clearly under instruction to not quite shoot on sight, but shoot more, West Brom, in this second half. They were shot shy, really, in the first period. Badger, the number 9, holds it up with his back to goal. He scored away at Norwich in the FA Cup last weekend. Maybe 1 or 2 surprised that he didn't start today. Johnston drifting in field for West Brom. Square ball to Mowat, 35 yards out. Chips it into the penalty area, and it's too long for DK, who did a spectacular leap into the air, but couldn't get anywhere near it. And he wants to place the loose ball down for the goal kick so that Rushworth can't waste away any more time. Quarter of an hour to go. And Coventry look like they should see this out comfortably. If they were to drop points from here, it would be a massive shock, I think.
Yeah, I think so. They'd be gutted. And it's either taking a lack of concentration from Coventry or, as you mentioned earlier, something spectacular from West Brom, both of which you don't particularly see happening.
2 changes on the way for Coventry. Romain Essa and Brandon Thomas Asante up against his old club today. Shows the strength in the Coventry squad, doesn't it, that they can bring on two players of that level of quality. Long ball thundered downfield by Van Eyck. Chasing is Mason Clark. He and Campbell in a real tussle on the edge of the West Brom penalty area. And Mason Clark goes to ground, and Frank Lampard again is left turning towards the fourth official and saying, well, was that a foul? Should that have been a penalty?
Well, these are the ones I think that frustrate forwards especially, because that's never going to get given as a free kick or a penalty. But my argument there would be is Campbell doesn't get anything on the ball. He slips, he makes contact with Mason Clark, and probably anywhere else on the pitch, if that's not fighting to get a shooting opportunity, that's given as a free kick.
Well, Mason Clark gets to his feet, trudges up. Is he going to come off here, I wonder? Essa is going to replace Sakamoto, who is on a yellow card. 2-0 Coventry lead here on Talksport 2. So it's Romain Essa, very highly rated, the young man on loan from Crystal Palace, and Brandon Thomas Asante, as I say, who joined a couple of summers ago now from West Bromwich Albion, back on familiar turf. And some applause on this near side from the fans in the Halfords Lane stand for Thomas Asante, and a long walk from Mason Clark as he goes off.
Yeah, and he's played well today, Mason Clark. Always a massive threat, isn't he? And very much deserved his goal today.
Well, news in the Championship of a goal for Leicester City at Stoke. Harry Winks has scored. What a start for Gary Rowett, and that is a goal that plunges West Bromwich Albion into the bottom three of the Championship. Looks like no win in 8 since taking charge for Eric Ramsey, and West Brom are in the relegation zone with, by the end of tonight, 13 games to go, which of course is still time for them to produce a revival. But we shouldn't forget that they were only outside the drop zone today because of Leicester's 6-point deduction. How psychologically damaging could that be, Courtney?
Yeah, I think it would be huge when they come off the pitch, if it is to stay as it is now, and they realise they're in the relegation zone. I think it's just that extra nail in the coffin.
Well, DK crosses. Oh, it's dropped to Price. Good save by the goalkeeper. Cleared away by Latabodiere. It was a miscue at the back post by Jay Da Silva. Didn't intercept the cross. And he actually turns to applaud Rushworth, who is finally tested with 11 and a half minutes to go.
And he does well, Rushworth. It's pretty much straight at him, but at that point, especially because the ball's come across from the opposite side, he needs to make sure that he gets positioning right, which he does. He gets it spot on, and probably not a lot more that Price can do with that, to be honest, because takes the first touch and he's trying to just get it under control so he can get the shot off. It's a snapshot because the defender's coming across, and it's just one of those where the angle's against him a little bit.
So West Brom in the drop zone, and Coventry 4 points clear at the top. This is Talksport 2, your home of the EFL, the only place you can hear live and exclusive national radio commentary from the EFL. DK back to goal, lays it back to Johnston, who curls a shot high over the top. It just soars into the lower section of the Birmingham Road end of the ground. And just over 10 minutes to go. And sacked in the morning is the chant from the West Bromwich Albion fans, directed presumably at their own manager, Eric Ramsey, who's yet to win since taking charge. And we've seen this at various clubs over the course of the season. Fans are quick to turn if they're not seeing what they want. And the West Brom fans want Eric Ramsey out.
Well, it's coinciding with a lot of them leaving as well. Seem to have seen enough.
They have made up their mind on Eric Ramsey, it would appear. A large section of the Hawthorns. Here is Thomas Asante down the Coventry left, cutting it back across. Intercepted by Mowat and cleared away by Bielik. Otherwise there would have been a free shot for either Essa or Sims there. Does seem to be the way that football's going, doesn't it, Courtney? That fans are pretty quick to have their say, even, less than 2 months into a manager's tenure in this case?
Yeah. Look, it's tough, and they've got every right to make their feelings known, fans, because they pay massive amounts to sit in stadiums and watch their teams. But equally, there's the other side of it that to create things, managers need time, and it's a difficult position that Eric Ramsey, as I mentioned earlier, he came into with the position of the club in the league, the injuries, but he obviously felt that he was good enough to be able to get them out of the situation, but so far that doesn't quite seem to be the case.
Well, they've already sacked one manager this season, have West Bromwich Albion. Eric Ramsey under increasing pressure, and we knew that would be the case, I think, before the game. Even if West Brom were to produce a better performance, if they were to lose, the pressure would only grow. Here is Styles on the halfway line for West Brom, who've got 8.5 minutes to find, improbably it would seem, 2 goals to try and get a point out of this game. They're in the relegation zone, and indeed even a point as it stands would not be enough to lift them above Leicester, because Leicester have a better goal difference. What a start for Gary Rowett, who has gone in, and I don't think many are surprised to see has had an immediate impact already.
Yeah, look, he's a very experienced manager, Gary Rowett, at this level, so no surprise to me that he can get a tune out of that Leicester side, because player for player they've got a fantastic squad.
2-0 to Coventry. Here is Johnston for West Brom. Madger nudges it back out left to the near side and Mowat. Down by the corner flag here, he'll roll it back about 15-20 yards to the feet of Styles. He nudges it forward towards Madger with the outside of his boot, beaten to it by Onyeka again. Now Coventry can counter with Eccles. Forward ball over the halfway line to Thomas Asante, and they're on the attack here, the league leaders looking for a third. Thomas Asante in field and then back out onto the left hand side, goes down inside the penalty area. No foul by Campbell. That will be a goal kick to West Brom. Well, the gloom deepens at the Hawthorns, and we said it towards the end of the first half, Courtney. Fans getting up and leaving, I think quite a lot now are heading for the exits.
Yeah, and it's tough, because it's certainly not the worst I've seen West Brom play this season, but the fact of the matter is they've not been good enough in both boxes. 2 big lapses in concentration mean they've conceded 2 goals, and they've not took the necessary sort of leaps of opportunity when they have got in the final third to try and put the ball in the net.
DK trying to bully his way into the penalty area, but he's blocked off by the stout defending of Thomas, and DK then sends Zessa to ground, and that's a free kick to Coventry City. 4 league games without a goal for West Brom, it's worth saying at the moment.
Yeah, and that's the real problem, is they're not putting the ball in the back of the net. But it's not necessarily the fact that they're creating opportunities that they're missing. They're not even creating good quality opportunities when they're getting into the final third, and that is the real issue for this side at the moment.
And here's the change for West Brom. Off goes Alex Mowat, and on comes Ollie Bostock, a 19-year-old who is very highly rated. I saw him play very impressively off the bench in the FA Cup against Swansea City a little earlier on this year. And Bostock trying to provide some exuberance to this really ailing West Bromwich Albion attack. We've got Wrexham against Ipswich coming up for you next here on Talksport 2. Full live commentary from the racecourse ground. Hull 1, QPR 1 is the latest score. Stoke 1, Leicester 2, Swansea 1, Bristol City 0. So West Brom sinking into the relegation zone, and Coventry with the opportunity at the start of the day to extend their lead at the top, and that's exactly what they're doing. I think the most significant thing, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, is the gap to Millwall at 9 points at the moment, at least for now.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it earlier and summed it up perfectly. It's been clinical without being outstanding. You know, for Coventry, they've not absolutely blown West Brom away and stuck in a hatful of goals in the back of the net, but they've done what's needed, and sometimes at this point of the season, that's all you need to do.
Well, off goes Frank Onyeka. How good has he been again today? Replaced by Victor Torp in midfield. Another sign of the quality that Coventry have got, and a rapturous reception for Onyeka, who has played a lot of football at Premier League level. He is on loan from Brentford, and they'll make that move permanent, Coventry, if they win promotion.
Yeah, he's a great engine in that midfield. Always seems to be at the right place at the right time. He's also got the energy to drive forward with the ball and bring everyone forward with him. And a big handshake there from Frank Lampard, because he knows he's played well again.
Well, he seems to have brought a real freshness to Coventry City since arriving at the club. Remember, Coventry were on a difficult run of form before Monday night, but 2 wins from 2 it is surely going to be. 4 minutes left, 2-0 to Coventry, and fans actually streaming out of the Hawthorns all the time now, the home fans at least. Out on the right for West Brom is Bostock. Bostock has held the ball up and played it backwards to Campbell. Campbell over the halfway line with a square ball to Price. Well, it'll be interesting to hear the reaction of the West Brom fans at full time. We'll try and get Eric Ramsey's thoughts for you as well. Long ball thundered crossfield by Bielik and straight out of play. Well, fans leaving early, struggling for goals, no wins. And in the situation that they're in, how much time has Eric Ramsey got to turn this around? Will he get the Charlton game on Tuesday? We will see. Plymouth 5, Cardiff 2 in League One. Fantastic win for Plymouth, who are really boosting their playoff hopes. And QPR lead again away at Hull City by 2-1. So that's a blow for Hull in the automatic promotion race. But QPR now just a point adrift of the playoff places as it stands, in a very tight race for the top 6.
I think the awkward thing for the West Brom hierarchy in this situation is they had time to think with Mason, and that decision was probably coming, and by that sense you're looking at the managers that are out there, you're making a more informed decision, especially of getting rid of Mason, who you're going to bring in, whereas they wouldn't have expecting to have to change manager again this season. So it does sort of beg the question of if it is the right thing, or yes, it might be the right thing, but can you get a manager of better quality and that you think can do a better job with this squad? And it's a strange time to be doing that.
Great slide rule ball by Madger into DK. His shot from the angle is charged down by Thomas. That'll be a throw to West Brom on the far side. Good work, diligent defending done by Thomas, who was snapping at the heels of DK. Thomas and Latabaudiere certainly looks like a central defensive pairing that is the one that Frank Lampard is going to stick with for now. 90 seconds to go in normal time. Long throw for West Brom, in by Campbell. DK flicks it on, looping header, and well gathered by Rushworth, high above his head. Kept his eyes on the ball under the challenge of Madger, and Coventry have it back again.
This is just about their game management now, wanting to end the game. They've got the 3 points. They'll want the clean sheet, and we mentioned especially their recent away form. This will probably mean a lot more to Coventry than we might think on the surface.
Yes, the ending of that away form, first winning 8 away league matches, and I'm sure you having been within football will know, Courtney, how important it is to back up the sort of result that they had against Middlesbrough as well. And they might be in for another goal here with Essa into the penalty area now. Shot is charged down, and the rebound is fired wide by Victor Torp. He really should have scored.
Yeah, there's not a lot more that Essa in particular can do with this one. And then we've seen Victor Torp smash balls in the back of the net. He's got such wonderful quality, and it's awkward the way it bounces up at him, but you are expecting him to make that 3-0.
Free kick to West Brom, midway inside their own half of the field, but lots of empty seats at the Hawthorns, dark blue seats everywhere you look. The home supporters have long given their verdict on today's performance and results as we go into added time at the end of the game. Eric Ramsey still trying to urge his players forward, just the 3 added minutes for West Brom. It is not going to happen. Is that an equaliser for Stoke against Leicester City in the Championship? It is. So a reprieve for West Brom. That means that Leicester City drop back into the relegation zone. 2-2. Ben Wilmot has got his second of the game. 2-2 in the Potteries. So West Brom are just outside the relegation zone, but only by a whisker. And I guess that's the one bit of good news for them from today.
Yeah, when you're in this position, you've got to take every piece of good fortune that you can get.
Leicester closing the gap, but only by a single point. The Foxes were outside the relegation zone for about 15 minutes. Coventry, most significantly, are 4 points clear at the top. Middlesbrough against Oxford at 3. 9 clear of Millwall, who take on Portsmouth. Remember, Ipswich are in the hunt for automatic promotion away at Wrexham on Talksport 2. That's our live commentary to come. Johnston jinking forward and finding Madger, and Madger works it wide to DK. It's overhit and out of play. DK was hopelessly offside anyway. Yet more West Brom fans get to their feet. I mean, this ground it's probably about, in the home sections anyway, a third full.
Yeah. They're certainly leaving in their droves now, and it's a frustrating home performance.
And now you're going to believe us, the Coventry fans chant. They think they're going to win the league. There's a long way still to go, and I'm sure there will be twists and turns and changes. We're with Coventry at Sheffield United on Wednesday on Talksport 2, but this week feels like a significant resurgence from Coventry City. The ball is cleared by West Brom, back to Bielik, and now the goalkeeper O'Leary. Been comfortable for Coventry today, really. They had 10 minutes to see out at the start of the second half, and they got through it. Is that fair to say, Courtney?
Yeah, I think they've never really looked troubled. As you say, there was that 10 minutes in the second half and a good start from West Brom, but did they really look under pressure as Rushworth had to pull out an incredible save? No. So they've done what's needed to be done, Coventry, being clinical and not really getting out of second gear, to be honest.
2-0 to Coventry. 20 seconds to go now. Only a matter of time before the game is ended and the result, which has long been expected, is confirmed. Really felt like that ever since Coventry made it 2-0 through Redoni in the first half, as we welcome listeners from Talksport. West Bromwich Albion 0, Coventry 2. Coventry poised to extend their lead at the top of the Championship, and West Brom just a point clear of the relegation zone. And boos at the Hawthorns as the final whistle blows. Another step towards the Premier League for Coventry, while West Bromwich Albion are bang in relegation trouble. Still no win since taking charge for Eric Ramsey in his 8 games in all competitions. West Brom have now failed to score in 4 consecutive league matches. The pressure grows on Ramsey, but what a week it's been for Frank Lampard and Coventry City. 2 wins from 2, a first win in 8 away from home in the Championship, and Coventry now 4 points clear of Middlesbrough at the top of the league table. 9 clear of Millwall in third. That feels almost just, if not even more significant, but Coventry were efficient and effective without necessarily being outstanding. They got the job done, and in a promotion race in a division as tight and as competitive as the Championship, Coventry have set out a blueprint now for the final 12-13 games of the Championship season. They scored both goals in the first half. Efren Mason-Clark lobbing in the opener. Jack Redoni hammered home the second. It was 2-0 at half-time. West Brom looked bereft. The home fans chanting against the manager, Eric Ramsey, who's booed once more as he walks towards the tunnel. There were chants towards the end of the game of sacked in the morning from the West Bromwich Albion supports. Ramsey trying to acknowledge the home fans, but they have already very little patience left, these West Bromwich Albion supporters, and his future, you'd have to say, seems extremely uncertain at this point. But the day and the result belongs to Coventry City. 4 points clear at the top. It finishes West Brom 0, Coventry 2.
Joe Shannon, thank you. More blues for the Baggies, who are in real relegation trouble. They stay just outside the bottom 3 as it stands. Eric Ramsey surely right on the edge now. Still no win for him. Big smiles, though, for Frank Lampard. It was comfortable for Coventry, who extend their lead at the top of the table. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, the damage was done, wasn't it, in the first half? The West Brom fans very unhappy, and rightly so, singing towards their own manager in that second half that he's getting sacked in the morning. Should this be the end of the road for Eric Ramsey?
it's difficult because you look at it, yes, they're in a real tough position. He hasn't won a game yet. But I think I mentioned it in comms to Joe. It's you don't expect to hire a manager at the time that they did and then have to look for another one so quickly. So I suppose the conversation that the hierarchy will need to have is who is out there that they think can do a better job with this squad of players, and can they get them? I don't like to ask for managers to be sacked because I think they need time, but there's no doubt if it's the difference between what West Brom think is staying in the Championship and going down to League One, then they have to make that decision, and they have to do it quickly while the incoming manager has enough games to be able to make that difference and implement the changes that are needed to keep this squad within the Championship.
It's been a short time in charge, but you just feel with the toxic atmosphere that you'll have seen today there at the Hawthorns, even in the first half there was booing, and that was even when West Brom were on the attack. It's just that relationship between the fans isn't there, is it? The question I wanted to ask you, though, is even with the managerial change, are you seeing enough from this West Brom squad to get them out of trouble?
From what I've seen, no. I think there's an element of the squad are very scared, and I'm confidence is a strange thing because everyone thinks that you have to find confidence, but for me, confidence is a byproduct of courage. So when you're in certain opportunities that you have to take risks, and I'm not talking about silly risks, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to do the basics well, but you also have to, when you're in the final third, you need to take shots. And it might be the case that one spins off the back of a defender and it trickles in the back of the net, and that's then a little bit of luck or how the confidence accrues. But for me, when they were getting into the final third, West Brom, we saw it more in the second half, but they're not doing the right things. There's a lack of courage, there's a lack of conviction. The decision making is poor. When you don't have shots on target, how are you expecting to win the game? Some of that is the players. There's an argument that some of that will come from the coaching as well. So can it change? Yes, because actually when you look at the squad of players, by no means is it the best squad in the Championship, no, but they've got players in there that should be good enough to stay in this league. And the more I look at it, I just think it's becoming a little bit untenable for Eric Ramsey because of what we've seen on the pitch and because of the reaction that he's now getting from the fans as well. But again, it begs the question, and the answer that I'm sort of going back to is if West Brom, if hierarchy have the answer of that can come in and do that job, then I think they'll make the change. But it's if they think that person is out there.
As for Coventry, a sure performance, a first win on the road in 8, 4 points clear at the top. Like Joe Shedden said, it wasn't outstanding, but a very good afternoon for Frank Lampard and his side. Yeah, and I would say the same with no derogatory intent, but in terms of they got it done. It's as simple as that. It wasn't spectacular. It didn't need to be. They scored 2 goals. They kept a clean sheet. They've also taken that away run now out of context in terms of they've got that win now, so that winless run is now in the back of the mind. So, and sometimes at this stage of season, that's what you've got to do. It doesn't have to be spectacular. You don't have to go out and break your neck and score 6 goals. But as long as you've got the win, and they look so comfortable without getting out of second gear. So if you can do that and bring away the 3 points from your local rivals, then that is just the exactly what Coventry City need at this time, especially off the back of that big win against Borough, because I think physically, psychologically as well, that would have taken a lot out of them. Yes, it's a win, but it still doesn't mean that it doesn't take a toll on the squad. So the fact that they've backed it up now with this type of performance, as I say, not spectacular, but never looking threatened, I think that was the perfect scenario for Frank Lampard and Coventry City. Yeah, and that derby aspect will make it just that little bit sweeter. Right, it's time now to pick our man of the match with McDonald's.
Man of the Match on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. The Big Arch is here to stay at McDonald's with its very own delicious sauce. Available from 11 a.m, subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
Come on then, Courtney, who are you going for?
I'm going for Frank Onyeka. I was really impressed with him. The drive, the bite in the midfield that he gives to let everyone else sort of be free where he does the dirty work. Again, bringing him in is proving a very quality acquisition for Coventry City and Frank Lampard.
Courtney, thanks very much. That was all thanks to McDonald's.